Oh no, yeah. Oh no, oh, no. Yeah. Sleepless nights trying to learn how to die in my sleep. 'Cause I don't wanna be the one to wake up without a heartbeat. Trust me, you're gonna love this. Cause I don't wanna wake up dead, wake up dead, wake up dead. Cause I don't wanna wake up dead, wake up dead, no. Cause I don't wanna wake up dead. I don't wanna turn up missing, but I can't get you out of my head. Baby, I just need you to listen. Cause I don't wanna wake up dead, dead, dead. If I ain't got you, then I'm already gone. Baby, don't leave me alone. Cause I don't wanna wake up dead. I'ma take 23 shots of Patron. Girl, if you ain't coming back home, then I don't wanna wake up.
everyone, and welcome on over to the MEC. The Midwest Esports Conference is starting on out this week. We've been having some fantastic matches throughout, and now we're on day number 3 of an exciting round of matches to get our CLOL action going. My name's Travis D. I'm joined here with the ever so illustrious TDS. TDS, how does it go?
I'm excited. I actually wasn't expecting to be casting any Midwest, so I'm back. I'm glad, and hopefully we get some great matches to follow up on that.
I think we will. It's going to be a fun time. Let's go ahead and take a quick moment while we're going into this. It's just to kind of take a peek at the standings as everything is kind of unfolded inside of it. We've got 2 whole days of play, so just about everybody's had a chance to be able to play. I say just about, but Ohio Northern has not had their moment in the sun yet, just yet to have their round, and they're going to be our first team playing up today, actually, taking on Briar Cliff, who had a very unfortunate loss, very heartfelt, and you know what? They had a very good showing against Ottawa Braves, taking them to the distance of a 2-1 game series, but Braves did come out on top.
And the lucky part about having great showings is that you cannot get standing points for great showings, right? You have to deliver at the end of the day. It's good to build on, but they do need to get some more wins. Obviously, one defeat is not going to be the end of the world, but hopefully we can see some replication of that great performance, and that way they can finally begin stacking up.
I mean, for me personally, I think that my biggest thing is what do I see inside the first week, right? Remember, this is the first week, even though it is a super stacked week where there's 4 days of CLOL action here inside the MEC. You're still running into a situation of what do you look for from these teams, right? Because a lot of these teams, players are just getting used to each other. Ottawa Braves, they had turned around. We had an interview with Killian, and they were just like, "Yeah, no, we haven't really scrimmed or anything like that, right?" Like, there's a lot of these teams who have, they're just getting together. One of the schools had a player who just got there like 2 days before. Like, you're looking for those glimmers of brilliance.
Yeah, 100%. Like the start of the season is telling, but at the same time it also tells you what teams are unprepared for, right? And not because of they wanted to or they don't want to try and scream or anything like that, but people have to realize that some people live away from the universities. Like, there needs to be time to get back there, time to play with as a team, even if there's international players, which I'm not 100% familiar which universities do have international players and which don't, but that can be an issue as well. So overall, it's understandable if some universities have issues to start it up, but the fact of the matter is that it does end up or affecting the first week performance. And one defeat, it's still counting on top of them. But I hope that is a quick turnaround for them to begin streaming quickly, to find the practice that they need, and that way they can begin stacking up on their victories.
TDS, I'm going to go ahead and walk us through the rosters real quick. I'm very familiar with a lot of these players here. Briar Cliff, of course, we got to see yesterday, and I will talk more on odds with them. But overall in Ohio Northern as well, we have Winderham, Julian, Kaido, Kai, and Cuz. And then over on the other side, we have BCU. They're coming in with Otzi, Mike, Hammer, Spooky, and Raymond. And real quick, let's go ahead and address something. This is the most interesting dynamic because these are 2 teams that were basically both in the same situation when it came into MEC playoffs last year. 2 different approaches. Ohio Northern actually coming back with the complete same roster that they had in the previous split. Just said, you know what? Run it back. We were good. We were pretty freaking good. While BCU, they turned around and had a complete roster flip up, and they swapped around a lot of different pieces. Their style looks a lot different. It's looking like a whole new BCU. And this is also going to be our first experience seeing Ohio Northern inside the MEC for 2024.
And I'm glad that we get a look at like 2 different sides of the coin, right? The one team that stays true to their previous roster, try and stick it together for one more attempt and see how it goes. And then the other side that tries to maybe recruit a couple new players, bring up some new players as well, and make a new different beast. Those are 2 approaches that have competed consistently in multiple occasions, both in esports and real life sports, and have had varying success. It can work out greatly or it can just completely flop. So I'm kind of excited in seeing how both of these teams are going to match up against each other. But I feel like when you know something about a team or when it's already tested, you can kind of have great expectations from it coming in from the side of Briar. But on the other side, you have more of a feeling of trying to get to know something new. And that is exciting in and of itself. Like that gives you the opportunity to not only learn about a potential new powerhouse in the form of the Ohio, but also the opportunity for it to just completely shine and surprise everyone coming into the MEC.
The thing I'm gonna keep for this as we kind of put our eyes on the spectrum, win conditions. We have a little bit of a look at BCU and what was strong about them. Ottawa Braves, they took them down first game inside their series. One of the things I thought was very interesting about BCU, and you actually brought it up earlier, like maybe it's like you don't have an accurate read. BCU had a really good read on draft. They drafted an Enchanter style composition that was a wrecking ball. And that's how they wrecked through game one. And it felt like after that, Ottawa kind of was like, okay, we just don't team fight you. We hands check you solo. Ohio Northern, they have actually the ability to possibly do that. Kaido is a really good mid laner that we have seen time and time and time again. And when I looked down into the bot lane, Kai was a player that I had called King Kai, and then it spread amongst everybody. Everybody was like, it's King Kai, it's King Kai. This player was so good that people were like, this player is going to stand up against GVU when they were in their monstrous run inside of the MEC in 2023. So this is a little bit of a dichotomy where you have some very proven individual players that we haven't gotten to see inside of this meta.
Yeah, and that's something that always you have to keep in mind when looking at how teams work out, right? Because the game is always changing. Obviously, this is technically still a new season since there weren't a lot of players that got the chance to actually test it out beforehand. Or even in the first patch, there wasn't a lot discovered yet. Like we knew that there were going to be strong champions, but the meta is yet to be decided. There's still a lot of things that have been left unchecked and things that can appear out of nowhere. And as long as able to try and find the groove for your team, I feel like there's enough opportunities for both of these universities to try and create something interesting for each other as we see the bans coming through and a lot of focus towards the long range engaged junglers. Look at that, both the Sack and the Nocturne actually taken away, and then the Karma, which this patch should be a ban.
Yeah, no, that's the lesson that is learned. Briarcliff put a lot of priority on the Karma. Yesterday was a big part of why they were able to pick up that game one victory where they drafted a Karma Seraphine lane. So both of those champions taken off the table. Ohio Northern, I like the respect they put as well. Lee Sin grab for Julian. That is all right, Mike. You had a great performance yesterday. What you got into me?
And going for the Lee Sin is not going to be something that you do if you lack the confidence to actually pull off the incredible plays. You want to hand check your opponent, you want to begin the game spiking really early on, and it's something that you go for if you want to just snowball the game out of control really early on. Excited to see how Julian is going to perform with this. On the other side, Corki and Rakan, they are boring. Don't get me wrong. I feel like everyone doesn't like to see them, but it's the meta and they are here for a reason. They are really strong, great team fighting potential, and I do like having the Rakan in a lot of situations because it's a support pairing that just works out really well with a lot of AD carries, but also takes away from the pressure from your jungler or top laner to be the ones engaging. Like it has so many moods of engage that it just enables so much for your composition without having anyone else be the engager.
I'll count your minions. Here's Nico coming into the map, and I will fight you on that point of you said Corki Rakan, may not be what you want to say. I'll always be happy to see Rakan. It's okay. I will take that banter. It's always great to be able to see what they'll be able to pull off. But on the other side, it's Cuz who's going to be piloting this Nautilus as well. So they've got a hell of a lot of engage.
Yeah. They want to try and force fights. Big potential is also going to be good, even though obviously the Pop Blossom is going to be awesome if you catch multiple people, but you have multiple instances of CC, and ways to try and lock down targets and quickly burst them out is going to be really nice for them, as that is unexpected, and I think it's going to be jungle. Obviously the jungle Morgana hasn't been as popular as she was once upon a time, but she is still quite strong. Like her clear is really nice. She has great potential to lock down targets, and then the Black Shield is going to be incredibly valuable against all of these champions.
Yeah, no, this is an interesting one because it is one of those weird things where it's like Rakan's already picked too, so it's like you don't actually even look back down to bot lane and go, maybe it's a Morgana support. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it, so it's a very precarious situation. There's an option as well that it could go over to Spooky if they did decide they wanted to go something that's a little bit more like utility based, but it's a very small chance. But I think you're right. This is a very curious case, and I feel like this is just showing the confidence that Mike has to go into this, because you're doing a lot if you end up playing this Morgana inside the jungle. You have a lot of confidence inside this pick.
It's going to be something that you either want to have a lot of surprises with, or you feel like it's the right pick for any situation, pretty much. As with the second round of fans going through, Tristana here will be quite interesting. So it's going to be a bubbling Tristana, actually. Or are we actually going to finally see Corky back into the bot lane? Because he once was an AD carry.
This is a really weird composition. So right now, this is like a objective. All your objectives belong to us kind of composition. Gangplank, I like this from Windrum. And then you could just take yourself something like a Varus, something that's safe. You got poke. You can actually just jab out people. That's going to be the lock-in for Kai. I'm very curious because we saw Otzi prefer to play more of the side lane characters yesterday. I'm a bit curious if he will go that route or if he might just go back to something like Orin or something.
Well, Fiora fit into that.
This is the most unique composition I think I could dream up of here for the very beginning here.
And they are even pulling the double Morgana off.
Double Morgana! That's OP. That's OP. That's broken, actually. Can you imagine if you could have two Morganas? Oh.
Double Black Shield, double just
I'm thinking of the double bind. I'm just thinking of the double bind. That actually would be the most tilting thing. When one bind ends, you're put in another. Like, please stop. But it's weird because Ohio Northern also has an interesting composition because we've seen Gangplank start to come into the fold. This was a blind Lee Sin first pick, which is insane to think about. Nico's a champion coming out from Kato, and then Kai and Cuz. Pretty tense split bot lane here. You kind of hit with an anchor toss, and then Varus usually can finish up a kill very easily. But Briar Cliff, what do you do?
Such a weird approach for Briar Clear, in the sense that I understand the idea with the Tristan and the Rakan, because I feel like those two do want to go in. So I get that part. But then you have long range poke from the Corki, and then long range kind of pick off potential with the Morgana. And then someone that doesn't want the team fight because Fiora is completely far away from the rest. So even though I understand the idea, I feel like there were other choices that you could have opted into. For example, the Varus could have been taken instead of the Tristana, and that way you have double poke. And you can play super long range from Ohio, and they never touch you. They have to fully commit on top of you, but by the time they commit, they probably are completely completely poked up that they cannot force the engage. I feel like there were too many things attempted into one composition, feels like.
Yeah, it's this weird thing because you kind of have this dichotomy of like poke and all this other stuff. It feels like this is a kind of composition where I see the Tristana, I'm like, all right, you kind of want to siege, but then you have like Morgana Corki, which has a lot of poke that could actually come into it, and a lot of utility that comes out from the Morgana. Then you have the Rakan who can go in for an engage, but who's going to follow up said engage, and then the Fioras in the side lane. There's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of different ideas, but you know what? I'm here for it. I'm here to see this right here, right now. Ohio Northern Briar Cliff. Game number 1 between them inside of this best of 3. Very excited to see what Briar Cliff is cooking. Oh no. Well, they're cooking up Spooky. Good flash.
Yeah, at the very least, he flashed away and survived. The important part is that he didn't die. But that is a really good start.
Yeah, and if I'm looking at like things that I'm a bit worried about, right? I do want to bring this up as something else. As Spooky Ooh did not have a great time off of the Enchanter picks. They once they got taken off of the Seraphine, they had a bit of a harder time inside the team fights. They played a little bit more the utility style. Game number 2, we saw them play support Ashe. And then inside of game number 3, we saw them play the lethality Jhin, but they played it where it felt very much so like they were just like, all right, we need to catch people, tag them like this. Con, is he going the safe route? Okay, he's
Yeah,
going
he
the
does.
safe route. No, wait. Yeah, he's going safe route. Okay, okay. I was worried because I saw him kind of hugging the edge right there. So I was like, But
Ooh.
I'm a little spooked for Spooky Uwu, as you can see. I feel like Cousin Kai are going to be very aggressive.
Yeah, I like the idea though. They were trying to look for a nice sneaky play. They are still trying to thread the hook, and now with no flash, you have to always play away from the Nautilus. Obviously, you do have your rocket jump at level 2, which can change some of the dynamics, but the fact of the matter is that you still have to be extra careful about it.
Well, this is all happening. You know, bot lane's probably the most interesting one, just because of the dynamic that goes in there and the storyline that is there and present. Oh, Kaido getting a good trade off, but Gamer fires off with a trade of their own with that first strike Corki. I do have to look back at this Morgana and wonder how the clear works out. Is it a good matchup into the Lee Sin TDS?
Well, you have the advantage that the Lee Sin Q is pretty telegraphed, right? So if he decides to jump on top of you, or if the Q connects, the first part, you have the potential to just bind him as he's flying. You can cancel the damage then, and then lock him up for a potential counter engage or counter fight if someone is fly. But realistically, you shouldn't be forcing to fighting against him because you can just cancel any sort of engage. On the other side though, if you do get connected on and you don't have the binding to actually fight it, you pretty much lose every trade because you cannot fight 1v1 against Lee Sin.
Becomes a bit of a troublesome spot, alright, so I guess the question is, I mean, their clear speed is about the same too, right? So do you think this is one of those matchups where, because if I remember right, Morgana clear speed get pretty nutty before.
It was nerfed. Yeah, it was really strong. I remember last year there were even stints where people were trying to bring up the Morgana jungle, but it was nerfed for a second time, if I'm not wrong. And it's still viable in the jungle. You can still clear well enough with it, but realistically, it's not going to be Brand levels of clear, right? Like Brand it has much quicker clear. Morgana has good, but it's not that great in reality.
I like
the
this.
setup though can be great.
I like this scenario right here. Mike taking the long way around. They sat behind. They're waiting inside this bush. There is no vision there. They're gonna get the recall off. They've shown themselves. There's no reason to throw a blind hook in here. But if they catch Cuz, and they will, with that binding, it's gonna be a lot of damage laid onto him. But the anchor toss gets them out of harm's way. The bomb will not tick down to their dismay.
Not sure if they weren't expecting the initial potential engage to work out well enough, because I feel like there was a bit of miscommunication between Raymond and Mike. One throwing the bind before and then Raymond trying to follow up. They were not layering their CC accordingly, and if that is the case, they could have tried and set up a much better kill. That being said, it's still the flash blown from Cuz. They also blow the heal from Kai, and I think they can try and look for a repeat gank if they really want to with the Morgana, especially since she's going topside once again.
I think the tricky side is definitely just how do you get in there for that kind of a play, right? Now that you've done that kind of a gank one time, they might just expect you to try and go for that route yet again. Otzi dodging out on the barrel, but they will dodge out on the kick. They're gonna immediately flash, get out of harm's way as Mike in the wings to make sure that they stay protected.
Yeah, I like the respect at the very least. Do not thread around with it. It's not worth it. You just flash it and then just position yourself much better. Morgana is close by, and the Corki is also moving upwards. Maybe there could have been a slight attempt at something, but it doesn't look like they want to try and go for something really aggressive in the top side with those drops.
They're pinging Lee Sin right now. Lee Sin's getting pinged out over here by the Grubs, so he is going to be spotted on this. Otzi Witterum looking to possibly tussle with each other. The tension is high. Mike comes in and is now able, with the support of this Corki, they're going to be able to invest a lot of time into this. They're going to lay in the hurt. Mike taking a bit of punishment that he was not expecting. The Nautilus coming along with Kaido. It forces the rest of the side, and that was a bit of a long exchange, but it was enough to actually push him away.
Yeah, at the very least, they are forcing them out of harm's way pretty much, and now are able to try and not only collect the grubs, but also force a bit of a bad engage. Lee Sin also had a minion by his side, so there was never anything to worry about. The minion was protecting the Lee Sin in the process of collecting the grubs. And maybe a dive here, no flash on Oxy. Weak.
We're gonna go ahead and force a teleport. Corki.
That is quick.
Briar Cliff Very responsive. You actually have Rakan here. I don't know if they know that Raymond's here. Head
Oh.
stick flash over the wall. Going to be able to catch onto him. W not available. Camera was pulled out of it. They got to try and kite this one back, but
They
they're
get
not
it.
going to find success with such. First blood going over to Cuz.
They had 3 members up there. Quick reaction from the side of Ohio to just lock down the kill really quickly into the Corki. And it was also teleport from Camera to try and go for the protecting Oxy. That means that mid lane was completely open and the Nico could push. There is 2 members here, but Kato should be fine, yeah.
Completely A-okay. I really love the way that they did that, because Briarcliff is definitely communicating. They're definitely putting themselves together as like a team, but the vision that they were able to secure and the fact that they were like, all right, let's go for this play, Cuz going for that Hex Tech flash over the wall, charging it up. It was just 1 second difference from being a play that Briarcliff is going to initiate. And one of the big things that I said in yesterday's game when I saw them against Ottawa Braves is I love the way they team fight. I love the way that they respond to team fight scenarios. They were taking fights off Ottawa Braves when they were 3 to 4K above them. And I think that's a great thing to actually be able to see, right? But
Yeah.
I wanted to see them initiating. So seeing little glimpses of that does make me happy. It's just Ohio Northern quicker on the trigger.
It's a lot more on not only the attempts that they want to go for, but them being proactive with those attempts, right? Like, you want them to want to force fights that are favorable for them. Not only respond according to fights, but force fights that you know you can make them work out. And maybe that's just the last part you're missing to really find great opportunities in the mid game to make the game be much more comfortable for themselves.
Yeah. Got a couple different options here. Cuz marching confidently forward, as you should. You want to go ahead and push them off of this wave when they're pushed up to this point. The dangerous thing you can do with a Tristana is let them get within range of that tower so they can start free hiring, start up that demolition crew, and be able to put in the work as need be. The CS differential as well. If all across the map, it's pretty even, but then you look over into the bot lane. Kai is taking advantage of this time, playing this more poke-centric Varus.
And there was a slight opportunity where the Tristana was by herself, and the Bears and the Nautilus were kind of close by to try and deny her. So Spooky is just forced into a pretty difficult spot. It's not that the Tristana, I feel like, has done anything horribly wrong. Like, we need to remember, Spooky started the game with no flash, and then has been playing the lane in a situation where you simply cannot farm that aggressively as a Tristana. So far, even if Spooky's behind, I think that he's been doing a much better job of staying close to the enemy.
Now, Cuz doing a good job playing bodyguard defense on the river, making sure that Briarcliff is not able to get any control over here into the bottom side. Thankfully, they did get first dragon, which is very important to take note of. So, with the current lead going in the favor of Ohio Northern, you do have a little bit of a buffer if things start getting away from yourselves in the mid game once some of these team fights start breaking out and they become a little bit more sporadic. But mid-game wise, they do have a couple tools. I'm still curious on how the tools that they have, how they apply them, right? The Fiora, the Morgana, the Corki, the Tristana, the Rakan, all 5 of these champions do very different things, and I'm just curious on what the idea of the mishmash and how it comes together.
Yeah, honestly, I'm more the thing I'm most interested about is seeing how the Morgana works out. Not because it's a bad champion, obviously, but more so how they practice around it. Because once again, Morgana is not a meta champion. Like, you can see Fiora being much better into multiple compositions because people like to play it. But Morgana is a much more niche jungle champion, so there has to be some way that Briarcliff wants to play around it that has to work out for them, as Mike is getting collapsed on inside of the page.
Yeah, dangerous situation. Is going to have a ward hop using the black shield. There's going to be a quickening coming in. Nico with the pop blossom laying in the hurt. Mike gets out of the pit and they're A-okay. Kato jumping over the wall, but it's A-alright for Cammer as they're just pre-hidden inside of the fight. You see Kato finds their mark over there onto the side, but while this is all happening, Briarcliff is tearing apart the opposition, Ohio Northern. They are routed at the Grub Hub.
They were looking too aggressively at the Grubs and at the end up losing the fight. Mike survived for so long in that initial engage. I'm surprised that the Morgana didn't just immediately die there, but the Black Shield finding so much value against the Nautilus, then as well having such a good position to put the chains on top of the Lee Sin and the Nautilus, and everyone collapsing accordingly really, really well. The Grubs go a bit in favor of Briarcliff plus the kills. The gold lead is still in favor of Ohio. But overall, I'm liking how they approach that fight to respond according to it.
Good stuff. I'm here for it. Headset clash coming in. Camera. I'm going to go ahead and preemptively use their W. It does mean that it is going to be telegraphed. They'll be rooted very easily. The damage is there, but the Black Shield was enough to keep Camera alive. And Kato was not expecting that. It finishes off, and this is a player to keep your eye on from Briarcliff. They're starting to pop off. We saw it yesterday. Once they start, they do not know how to stop. And Julian looking to tag, but they're not bagging anything. They're just going to go ahead and run on back. Spooky ooh woo. Respectable choice, jumping over the wall, making sure you're in a position to possibly free hit in the fight. Check out Kai moving in through the river, going to throw that dredge line, hits onto Mike. The Black Shield is there, but Mike is here. Spooky ooh woo is free firing with Camera, and Kai is looking to get dethroned. A double kill for Camera.
And Briarcliff is just answering so well to whatever Ohio wants to do. Even though Ohio is the one looking for the plays proactively, they are not coming out on top as you would expect with how they approach those fights. Really well played by Briarcliff. Mike seems like he doesn't want to die at all, and then everyone responding really, really well to the play. Now with the lead going back in favor of Briarcliff, how are they going to approach this? They have the Tristana that can take down turrets, the Dragon still available for them if they want to try and take it, and also they blew summoners from the bot lane. That means that they can try and go for a play aggressively down there and maybe put the Tristana even further ahead.
Yeah, sure. The Tristana could get further ahead. 0-0-1 though, right? They didn't get really much out of that fight. They were only being able to participate in one fight there. They got the plate, sure. They got a little bit of money for themselves. The Corki is what I'm looking at. Hammer on this Corki for 1-1. This is a champion that once they get their itemization off this gold, they become a whole nother type of monster. Cause that is a brave move going into the fog of war like that. You're going to hop in with a dredge line, go ahead and throw it on out. They're going to continue the fight, and they get the kill on the really Camera. Beautiful insect onto Mike as well. Peel off the dragon, cuz it was brave, but it was right. They had faith in their team.
It's Dragon, it's 2 kills, it's a shutdown on the Corki, and just as we were mentioning how important the Corki was becoming, guess what? They shot him down so quickly. And importantly, the kills went to the Nico and the Gangplank. Yes, obviously getting a kill into the barriers would have been nice, but he's already kind of just ahead by winning the lane. Meanwhile, the other two were still trying to find opportunities to get ahead of their lane opponent, and now with these kills, can try and force themselves even farther ahead of the opponent.
I'm gonna be real if I'm that Fiora. This is one of the things I hate about whenever I have to play against a Gangplank. I'm doing fine in lane. We're 0-0. Nothing bad could possibly happen, right? And then all of a sudden, while the Gangplank's still in lane with you, he's picking up kills, he's getting assists, he's getting money from across the map, and all of a sudden his itemization is hitting faster than yours is, and you're like, I was doing fine in the matchup. What happened? Well, it's Gangplank, and it's a moment where you beat your desk afterwards. You're just like, all right, fine. I guess this is how it goes. But hey, someone else, that's how it goes. Yo, Nico Clone ain't saving you, Kato. You can throw out a fake, but they're not getting faked out by that one.
That was a Morgana Vine, a Rakan dancing on top of you, a Corki taking package on top of you as well. It was just destined to die there. Kato wasn't going to survive that long. And with the Nico dead, the Herald opens up completely to be taken. I do like, though, the response, looking at the other side of the map, pushing onto the Tristana really hard, trying to force into the other turret. They are trying to get first brig as fast as they can.
It makes a lot of sense too, just because of the fact that they could go for a dive potential if this works out. Cuz taking a good amount of damage as they go for the play under the tower. Finally, they finish it off, and Cuz barely able to survive. Now it's Kai trying to get out of harm's way. Spooky needs to be careful. They got those plate stacks onto him. Kai popped it a little early, but still got the 1-for-1 trade. And now Cuz, where you going? You Alcove Gaming looking to try and get over to Julian, who is in route, hot pursuit, going in the Black Shield onto Raymond means this will remain a 1-for-1 between the marksmen.
It's just 80 carries dying between each other, as the Herald also gets collapsed on top lane it seems, but overall, really interesting fight. They get the turret down there in the bot lane, they do end up trading 80 carries, and both of them end up getting the kill as well. So it's a really weird 1-for-1 that technically benefits Ohio a bit more just because of the turret, not because of any trade that happened there. But I'm kind of surprised also that Cos is so low level. He was level 6 in that fight, meanwhile Raymond was already level 8. And he's kind of behind the curve when you look at levels in the support position.
Yeah, you're finding that a lot, and Cuz in this scenario, right, it is the game of Cuz has been all over the map, looking for plays to be able to happen, jumping around. They're in these tricky situations. Kaido as well is so low in just the fact that they're trying to move around the map and trying to catch up to a lot of things. They're not actually getting that XP inside a lot of these fights. So we're seeing a lot of interesting things to happen across. There's just a big showing in this gameplay. Even despite they've gotten ahead in the itemization curve, they are actually still suffering up here in the top side. By the way, Otzi on the Fiora, this was a champion that was banned away from him in yesterday's series the entire time. We're seeing just why right now.
Yeah, makes sense. I'm beginning to see why they banned it away. The Fiora doing so much damage here in the top lane. Now with 384, she can begin looking a bit more proactively onto the Gangplank. And even if the Gangplank has that first item, it's not like you're cutting onto anything that the Fiora wants to do just yet. You have to combo your barrels really well, because if not, she's just going to play around it really easily. And now with the Lee Sin, they probably are just going to respect it and go away from there.
Good stuff, though. They understand the matchup as they were hugging the wall with the Vital Prod. But here comes Raymond, the quickening. They're going in for the play. They hit the binding. They hit the shackles. Cuz flashes out. But Kai has dropped yet again. Another play from Briarcliff. This is what I was looking to see. But that's another hook to come in from Cuz. You do not have the resources to be able to back up what you want to strut about with there, buddy.
That's a support that wanted to go for a kill. Oh! Okay, he was paying attention. Thankfully, he was paying attention.
Yeah, I mean, they're paying attention, sure, but over into the top side, a grand challenge laid out. Is able to escape, forcing the flash and the artillery to be called out. This is all Briarcliff. This is what I wanted to see from this squad. I wanted to see this level of proactivity after seeing how they played against the Braves yesterday in what was a great 2-1 series. This is what I wanted to see from Briarcliff, that adjustment to be able to be made, so they are finding themselves feeling a little bit more comfortable in the matchup.
The proactiveness has been really, really nice, especially in the previous pick. You could see how they wanted to force the play, blowing both flashes and then killing Kai.
Oh, here we go. Pop Blossom going to be able to hit onto two members, laying the damage. Spooky Uwu is dropped. The teleport, but it's an express delivery. The package is delivered. Kato goes down. Dragon secured by Ohio Northern as they get the steal. And yet again, this package looking to continue to be delivered to all the members. It's a triple kill as Camera looking for a little bit more. Fiora secures the double kill to finish things off. It is an ace for Briarcliff.
It's already a 2-item Corki. He's dealing so much damage. The initial pick was amazing by Ohio, but the rest is all Briarcliff, and they played that off perfectly. Huge props to Camera and the Corki, now 7-2. You have to fear the power from the Mustache Man, because those rockets are going to hurt so much.
Just fear this player in general. From Briarcliff, in all 3 games that they played against Braves, this player was a standout. Inside of the first game against Ohio Northern, the team that a lot of people were looking at going into the regular season of 2023 MEC season as this team that was going to be the potential to be that team that broke into the top 3, right? They were sitting right on the cusp. They had these standout moments. And then you look over at what's happening here. Briarcliff, another team that was competing with them. Ohio Northern never got that competition inside of the MEC. And now they are getting collapsed upon. They are getting routed. Briarcliff are in complete control and are dictating the way the game is meant to be played.
Ohio Northern is not finding where to respond to this plays, and just like that, they get the pick onto the Gangplank and they move immediately for the Baron buff. They have 2 really strong members. They have Smite on their side, and it seems like they are going to respect the other members coming in from the side of Ohio Northern. That being said, Briarcliff has complete control. It doesn't matter if they don't take the Baron at this point, as long as they just simply not throw the game out of the way and just completely kill themselves in the middle of the lane, they should be completely fine for what's coming in the later parts of the game.
I mean, yeah, and you look at the item breakpoints that are about, right? You got a Magi's that's stacked up to 10 on the Morgana. You've got this Fiora who's almost completed their team ad item. You also have all this different stuff coming in for the Malignants. You have all this, you have the Tristana who's going to be on second item here very shortly. A lot of the itemization is looking over in their favor as well, right? With that 3k lead, you're hitting some tremendous power spikes. And this Corki is the scariest one of them all. But check out Kai, looking for a possible solo pick of their own. They catch out Raymond, laying a good amount of hurt onto him after HP going gone, but it don't matter if you don't finish off the kill. There's no other objective to be able to grab off the back of that play, and there is a binding. Doesn't hit onto a vital member, but you can see Ohio Northern, they want to get back into the driver's seat. They are absolutely trying to figure out a way to claw their way back in.
It's half their health, but it's not really a kill, and it doesn't really give them any control over the map. They have to find more avenues to get more control. Like, even if you just look at the vision control, it's all red. There's barely any blue on the map. The control from Briarcliff so far is so important to try and control the picks. And then when you look on the other side, Ohio Northern, they barely have any sort of vision to deny picks from coming through. Something like a Morgana Binding just killing the Corki, the Virus or the Nico on the side, because you simply don't have any sort of control. It's going to be really scary, especially moving forward, where the Corki can blow you up immediately. When the Tristana can also blow you up immediately. It's so difficult to move around here.
I'm not sure what exactly would be the best play. I like the idea of Kai in the fog of war looking to initiate a fight with their ultimate, right? Hit them with the chains and just pop somebody. You can do a lot of damage with the lethality build going with that kind of a strategy. I think you need to hopefully find one of these squishier members. I would love to see this be like a catch-out moment on the Morgana, actually. I think the Morgana is a very vital person to take off the map at the current moment in time. So if they could set up a pick possibly with it, where they have the tools for it with a Nautilus even, a Nico. They have tools for picks. I would love to see them go for something of that nature, but it's very hard to, because even Gangplank, right? Who does Gangplank split into here? They switch the lane assignments between the top and the mid lane. You're kind of in this rough scenario where Corki eats up your barrels and Fiora just hits up Nico for free.
And the difficult thing is that was their decision after what was happening. Because before it was the Gangplank just losing their barrels against the Fiora because the Fiora just pops them or just parries away some of the damage. And then the Corki from a safe distance was just poking the Nico. So there's really no side where you are really comfortable with. Because both soul laners can just push you out of position in the side lane and just gain complete free control. As that is happening also, the Dragon was looking to be started by the side of Briarcliff, but it doesn't look like they are going to proactively attempt it.
Yeah, there's a bit of curiosity now. Ohio Northern do have the lead in the Dragons, so they've got the first one, but there you go. Briarcliff will get this, so it's even up to a piece between both of these teams in the MEC. Both of them vying. Ohio Northern, this is their first match. Briarcliff, their second inside of the MEC conference. And you can see Ohio Northern trying to kind of shake things off, get themselves in a better way. But Briarcliff, I mean, they have complete control over this river. It just makes so much sense for them to just peel onto this Baron. And I think
it's already half health.
There we go. We got the TP package dropped in on the 4 members that go in. Ooh. No steal established. Cameras by themselves while the fight is ongoing. A huge shutdown by the Gangplank. Julian looking with the Dragon Rage kick into a flash bomb. Blossom popping every single member there. Briarcliff get completely routed. Oxy the sole survivor.
They may be clad in purple, but it doesn't matter because 4 members completely got without close out of that fight. It's now Oxy only with the Baron buff, and the rest of the members from Ohio Northern are pushing onto the base. They maybe are not going to get inside of it, but at the very least, they got really good kills, really important turnaround fight, and now they can try and collect all the standing gold left in the map.
That actually is a very insane moment too, because you could tell. This is one of those moments where I was like, oh man, I wish we could go back and look at the replay, because Corky goes in so deep with the package and trying to like get caught up in the idea of like, oh yes, this is a very strong team fight tool, which is absolutely correct. But they went in so deep that it actually ended up being a punishment. Witterum is in a bad way. There's not any amount of oranges that are going to make that play okay. You're just caught out. That's as simple as that. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Furor is terrifying right now. But I feel like Briarcliff, they had that a very rare thing of miscommunication on how far they wanted to go and what they needed to do inside of it. I think if we saw Corky use that package a little bit more defensively, we might be looking at a different game. But now it's back to being dead even, it feels like.
Yeah, one of the main things that is making a huge difference, though, it's still that Furor, right? The fact that pretty much no one can stand up to it in the sideline is going to be so scary. And then even if the Baron buff was taken from 4 members, it's still on one of the most important members on the team from Briarcliff. It's that Furor that has it. So the control overall is still in favor of Briarcliff. The fact that Ohio Northern can now turn it around, it's important though. Hopefully they can try and find some more plays on the side that can finally turn it around in their favor if you're an Ohio Northern fan. But it looks like they want to fight.
Ooh, the flash soul shackle into the binding. Bypass, cuz, bye. Get him out. That gives you the tower. The chains come through. They hit him with the anchor toss. And the artillery was enough to finish off Camera. It's a 1-for-1 trade. Brilliant move. But while this is all happening, Kato says, all right, cool. You got a Fiora that's wanting to split push? Sure. Cool. Bet. I can split push too. I'm Nico. Welcome to my game here. And now Cuz is looking to play a little bit of distraction, saying, hey guys, come on over here. Hey, I'm over here, guys. Oh no, up high a little bit more. Kaido waiting though, as a chicken coming in. The Pop Blossom, you never saw it coming.
You have to give huge props there for Kato, because that is such a good placement. And also to Cuz, he was the perfect bait until the end, waiting for them to just walk into the clutches of the Nico. And that's another 2 kills, another potential good turnaround. And with the Baron buff, even though they got the Baron buff on the side of Briarcliff, they still weren't able to penetrate the base from Ohio Northern. That means that that's still a completely open game. Nothing to worry about just yet in terms of super minions.
I don't understand why this game is as close as it is. I really just do not understand it. Like, Briarcliff, for all intents and purposes, they feel like they have grabbed control, they seized the day. The only thing I can look at, I can only say one name, and it is Kato. It's this Nico in the mid lane, brother. Like, this Nico is actually so clean. That's the second time a Pop Blossom was key in making the play happen. You gotta put respect on this mid laner from Ohio Northern, as they are constantly looking for opportunities to bring their team back in. No team is out of it until the Nexus explodes.
Exactly. Multiple Pop Blossoms can win you the game. That is a lot of damage though onto Kai. Hammer is hitting quite strong, and at this point, where now the 3rd dragon, the soul point, is going to be contested, all teams have to be extra careful about the poke damage.
Go flash anchor, but check it out, the Pop Blossom under the side, hits 1 to 2 members, and it's going to be spooky, dropped immediately inside the fight. Mike is next up on the list, knock him off. Kai 99 picks up the final hit onto the kill. Fiora was inside the mid lane, trying to be able to see who they'll be able to catch out on a possible play, but they're not going to be able to find nothing. Dragon is going to go ahead and get started up. Check out the teleport coming around onto the flank. Kai is going to be in no man's land, as that's going to be Fiora dropping into the fight. Go ahead and use the repose, do whatever you need. You better say a prayer, because that's a shutdown going over. Ohio Northern coming back and fighting with a vengeance, as they're not done just yet. Waterroom still tagging and bagging. Raymond over onto the side. Run for the hills. Run as fast as you can. You won't be able to outrange this pirate.
Oh, but there's still the big mustache man. Or the little, actually.
Why are you chasing the gameplay? They're just gonna end the game. Yeah,
They're just
Corky's
pushing.
down here, bot side. Spooky just spawned. Spooky can't defend this by themselves.
Now Mike's alive.
Get back. Okay, they're coming back. All right. Whew. I was like, dang, dude, they lost so much from that though. Ohio Northern. Just. Oh no! Don't tell me they're about to do this.
Who's checking, Mike or Spooky? Or no one?
No, it might be nobody.
Okay. There's the
Well, no,
good thing is
Baron
that there's
spawns soon.
nothing of
Somebody's got to
value.
walk through. Somebody's got to walk through. Baron's coming up.
Yeah, but how long are they going to wait? That's the real question. Okay, maybe long enough.
I think if you wait here, you're committed, right? Oh, they gave up.
Oh,
They
it
gave
doesn't
up. They're
matter,
gonna
yeah.
find the pick though. They got Raymond. That's not the biggest target I was hoping. I was looking at the Corky who was waiting at base for the package, so I was hoping that was going to be the person that they caught. But they don't get them, so that is still a vital member of the team, alive and well. They have a GA picked up as well, so you're gonna have to knock them out. Get that KO punch twice onto the Corky.
I find it funny that people still don't actually just kill the Baron buffs because they forget that they just give to everyone. Like they want to get the last hit to someone.
Charge goes out, hits onto the Corky, going to disengage.
Cannot go for Baron.
Fior needs to, but look at what Fior's doing. Fior, and this is what I want to see. Fior, you have Hullbreaker, right? Stop team fighting. You're inside of the solo lane. You're meant to be a menace. You were the ultimate duelist. Nobody on this team can deal with you in a 1v1 scenario. Let's get that split push unlocked. And I think that is a bit of Briarcliff. They got so many tools in the disposal. So many chefs inside the kitchen. But they all specialize in different kinds of cuisine. They gotta figure out a way to make something that is going to be good for the team, to find that dub inside of what I want to remind everybody, it's the first game of this best of 3.
There's still so much that can happen in this BO3 series, but in the game, it's so close. Any team can really take it. With the Fury split pushing, there's always going to be the threat of the game just ending completely. On the other side though, there's a good chance that Ohio Northern can win a team fight, and with a team fight victory, they can just go and close out the game as well. But it's all on a moment's decision. The next Dragon is going to be pivotal for the side of Ohio Northern, as it's the soul. But Baron may be the final thing that Briarcliff finally needs to push with the Fury on the side and finish the game.
I think a decisive moment's coming up soon with the package expired. Right, that's a big one for Briarcliff. Mike throwing out the binding like, don't you dare, don't you dare. Ohio Northern, over the course of the past like 5 minutes, have gotten complete control over the river as well. This is an insane game. All the Magi stacks on the Morgana are gone as well.
Ooh, that is so much damage on a Spooky. It's pretty much a luxury item at this point, right? With no stacks, it's just an empty book. It has no pages at all.
Yeah. There's no pages, nothing inside of it. It's just the cover.
It still hurts quite a bit though. Like if you get hit by a cover, you're going to know that it hurts a bit.
That, you know what? That's fair. That is fair. If you get hit by just a book cover, don't recommend that. Right now, it's the Baron who's getting hit up. Baron can actually get devastated pretty quickly with the amount of composition that they have. Here comes Raymond. They go with the quickening. They're going to go in, lay in a little bit of hurt.
Mike
they jump into
in.
the pit. They going to secure it.
in.
Ohio Northern. They're the ones that... No, wait. It was actually the Morgana who stole it. But Pop Blossom into the back line. I mean... What did it cost you? It cost you everything. Gameplay's teleporting by. Fiora's not going to get the split push. And steal the sentry. I didn't even notice the steal happen. I thought it was still secured by Ohio Northern. But they lose 3 members. And now the base is in shambles. The gameplay's chasing down Fiora. You're not going to be able to escape back to the base, it looks like. At least if they have their way. Ohio Northern, they're looking to close out the game.
Yeah, they knew the Gangplank teleported in to try and protect the base, but because of that, he had to persecute the Fiora until she couldn't teleport. But she's able to teleport. They protect the base, so the game is not over yet. The Baron buff stolen there was actually so massive, and Dragon spawning in 13 seconds. Corky will not be alive, but Morgana can try and come there.
Bro, the fact that they couldn't get anything off of that.
Yeah.
What is happening? Like, you got kills, sure. At this point in time, in a game of League of Legends, you get past that 30-minute mark, your kills do not matter unless they carry on to something else. Something else on the map. Dragon, towers, anything.
Well, it's going to
if
be
you're
Seoul.
not doing damage onto the map, yo, winning the team fight's not going to do you anything. And that's Seoul secured for Ohio Northern. They can't even take full advantage of the Baron buff that they have on 2 members.
Yeah, the Baron buff, the advantage on the Baron buff was going to be if the Fiora was able to push. But because of the quick reaction by the Gangplank, it simply wasn't able to find that sort of angle, though. Kai has to be careful here. Oh.
Yeah, Kai needs to be very, very precautious about it. Infernal Soul ain't nothing to mess with. You can absolutely, especially with this Varus, we already saw some of the damage it does. This Gangplank is splitting as well as time is going on. They're setting up a collapse. They're going for the angle. There's no TP angle for the Gangplank. They can't get out the way that the Fiora did. So they're going to have to run for the hills. They're going to look for the 1v4 scenario. It's just going to be Ohio Northern getting control over it. He's caught. He's done. Yeah, there you go. There's a vital proc. Yeah.
Oh, wait,
he's
Raymond.
not gonna. Oh, the burn? Okay, not enough. Okay. Raymond almost died there. That was almost terrifying, but Raymond barely surviving. But, I mean, Ohio Northern just took this time to take control over the map, which is, I think, the best possible call you can make.
Well, technically, you can also argue that they were collecting the newer, like, Infernal Soul mechanic, so they were taking their time collecting the tiny fragments.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Making sure to go around, you know, do a little toll collecting. Right now, Otzi's looking to collect this bottom tower that they've been trying to work on for ages. Corky is all the way up into the top side, has teleport. It could be a teleport angle, but 20 seconds until Gangplank spawns. We have over 3 minutes, basically, that we're going to wait. Baron spawns in little under, and Elder Dragon spawns a little after.
I was waiting to see if maybe the Nico was just trying to disguise herself as a minion and waiting to try and get on top of anyone, but no, realistically, she's not there. She was with everyone else trying to maybe play around with their minds, and now we have to wait and see what is going to be the catalyst for the next fight, right? Because Baron in 230, Elder Dragon in 250, those are two huge objectives, but it doesn't feel like if you get either, you can close out the game. There has to, oh, Spooky.
Spooky is gone. That's a death charge to finish him off. Kai finishes, gets the kill secured.
You're on the side?
That's such a hard moment here. You've got 45 seconds until Tristana comes up. It's time to defend like your life depends on it inside of this game, number 1.
They do have good wave clear with the Corky rockets, plus the fact that they have a lot of damage. Fury's just going for the inhibitor as well on the other side. Just pushing by herself, and there's no minions.
Mid inhibitor for mid inhibitor. You know what? I respect it. What a handshake to have happen here.
Works
and the
out.
game gets delayed even further beyond at this moment in time with double minions coming in, double inhibitor broken down. They're looking for a possible catch onto the Fiora. Kai walking very confidently out. That Infernal Soul does a ridiculous amount of damage on top of this Varus.
Yeah, that's still so much damage that Kai is dealing, and if he can get on top of anyone or deal damage to anyone on the side of Briarcliff, that's still going to sting quite a bit. Like, realistically, there's no true tank. Maybe Raymond, but it's still a support champion. It's not an actual tank going to be eating those arrows.
I mean, you don't play Rakan for the tank ability. You play it for the playmaking, right? Like, that's what you're looking for. And Raymond has been doing that, popping that ultimate from outside, inside the Fog of War, and running into these team fights very quickly, very aptly. And now we're going into a situation where, TDS, did you wake up today and go, oh, it's MEC day, it's going to be great, and I'm in my very first game, there's going to be 3 Barons.
I wasn't even going to bet on the first game going 40 minutes in all reality, but yeah. It just went the full distance. It's going the full distance, I mean.
This is game 1 of a best of 3. We might just be seeing these two teams hit each other up over and over and over again. We still have the ability for them to go the distance inside this. It's about to be a movie.
Yeah, this may be the shortest game, even. Potentially.
This is the shortest game, possibly? This is the game where they fill each other out? Yeah, it could possibly be. That's a terrifying thought for a lot here. They're trying to spot out. Oh, Otzi stopped a recall. Okay. They're just going to go for Baron as a result?
They're on the other side of the map. No one is here.
Yeah, no, they had the information. The Fiora spotted Nautilus and Gangplank. They know that they're going to get Baron. They're going to shred this. third Baron of game number 1, but Elder Dragon spawning in 5 seconds. They want to get the catch out onto the Fiora to give themselves the numbers advantage, but they're not going to be able to do that. All ultimates are here. Everything's on the table. One deciding moment. Teleport from Corki coming in from above. Fiora's going to be able to have the split onto the fight. The package is there. Quickly going to be able to go onto the side. Big Pop Blossom onto the side, going to hit onto 3 members. That's the Elder Dragon secured, and now we're going to hear what the dragons roar. Multiple members dropping back and forth. Kai solidifies another one. The shutdowns are wild. It's a loud game end here as Briarcliff are routed. The Elder Dragon's might is not going to be ignored. Ohio Northern finally find the team fight they need to find game number 1.
They may get the Baron buff, but purple is not enough to go against an ancient dragon. The gray is stronger than the purple, and they are going to not only take the Elder Dragon, but win game number 1 on the side of Briarcliff. Yeah, it should be, right? Like, yeah, they have the super minions. Yeah, it should be game 1.
No, this is absolutely game 1. Don't have any hesitation in your voice. Look at those death timers. Those death timers are gone. They are absolutely out of here. And Ohio Northern up behind victory. They were down goal almost the entire time, but they never got down expeditiously. They stayed within that 3K margin, and you gotta look at the playmaking. This Nico, man, it was so incredible. The Pot Blossoms were the deciding factor to keep the team inside the fights, and then the aftermath, finally getting that Elder Dragon. The 40-minute win con is a thing, TDS.
Yeah, if you can survive 40 minutes, then you certainly do have an opportunity to win the game. And I agree, the Pop Blossoms were completely game-saving, really important to turn around the tide of the game. But I also want to give credit to Ohio Northern for how they handled the Fiora situation. Because at one point we were scared about how the Fiora was going to go into the side lane completely uncontested. But they kind of took turns, waited on the side, just pushing her slowly but surely away from the turret. And they were able to hold long enough that, yes, she took an inhibitor, but the inhibitor never turned into more pressure. It just turned into an inhibitor that you can clear, and that's it.
They didn't crumble under the pressure of a duelist breathing at their base, and they made sure to have the right moves to be able to come back and finally overtake what was not an easy opponent in Briarcliff. But guess what, TDS? I was just alluding to it earlier on. That was game number 1. We still got more. Before we do go over to a short break, I do real quick want to say, hey, yo, if you're enjoying today's show, if you're enjoying everything that's going on here for Unified, make sure you hit !top 5 to where you'll be able to just kind of, go in there, be able to read the newest article that they have. It's what it takes, top 5 things powering esports events. Unified's been around doing esports events since back when I was a caster, back when the old days of Upsurge, right? They've been handling esports events. You'll be able to hear a lot of different opinions from industry professionals. And if you're ever interested in what goes into esports events, or if you're interested in finding yourself inside of that field, make sure you check it out. It's always good to be able to pick the brain of some wisdom there. So make sure, yet again, use !top 5 in the chat and check out said article there. That being said, we're going to go ahead and take a short break. TDS has already left me. He ran off without me. I'm going to go ahead, grab myself a break, grab myself a water. We're getting ready for game number 2 of what's sure to be a phenomenal series. So make sure you do not touch that browser.
We're here at the MEC Fall Championship. It is Kendo Slice alongside Milk, who's Briar Cliff University. You are a Valorant player, if I remember correctly. The question of the day has been, what does esports mean to you?
Esports, to me, is just short of for electronic sports.
I do appreciate that.
I don't think they're any different than normal sports. I think that if you got a team and you got an environment that supports your team work and team growth, then it's a sport, and that's what esports is. It's just a sport. I think that just classifying it differently is just to help people categorize what they're doing. It doesn't really mean anything else.
You heard it here first. Esports is sport. And
yes.
I do agree with that. Thank you for elaborating on that. It could have been very easy to say electronic sports and just leave it at that. But no, the elaboration killed it. I appreciate that. Something that you've learned over the last 3 months, so this semester, potentially from your experience with Briarcliff University Esports.
Something that I learned is that hard work pays off.
Yes.
So in the beginning of the semester, we had that first LAN. I don't know if it was like a month or two ago, but it was some time ago. And we got handed L's. But then on the most recent matches, we've seemed to be able to turn it around, and we haven't really dropped a map this series yet.
That's crazy.
And so we've been playing a lot better as we improve. And I think that's in part to the fact that every single day, except I think Wednesdays, we're in the arena for a couple hours a day, studying and learning how to play better and be better. And
That's
now
excellent.
we are better.
Yeah, that is excellent. A lot of work being put in there. As far as the LAN environment goes, you got an opportunity to play on LAN for a couple times now. How do you feel about LAN environments? Are you enjoying your time here?
So for me, I feel like it's pretty stereotypical that like esports kind of people are more like shy and reserved. And so whenever I'm at events like this where they're in person, I feel like you actually get to know the person a lot differently than you do just like talking to them over the voice. And so like I've met a bunch of the other teams here, and I would say we're all in friendly terms, and it's cool to see your friends again.
Yes, I do agree with that. It definitely adds a whole new layer and brings people out of their shell at times as well.
Yeah, it's
and
interesting.
Getting to see opponents. Very good. Favorite esports moment of the Fall 23 semester? Did you have a clip that you can't deny?
I do have a clip, but I don't know if it's on specifically this tournament.
Yeah.
But I hit a 5K spray transfer
Wow.
on split, and it was insane. And like I had all my teammates popping off, and like that's probably like the #1 moment. Because for me, I always choke aces. I always get 4 out of 5, and so like that was I never get aces.
That is amazing. Love it when it goes to fruition. And now the final.
Welcome back to the MEC. I like that. Finger guns. Pow, pow. Yeah, you know what? It's all good. I like it because you know what? We're falling off the handle already as we had a little bit of a standoff inside of our game #1 between these two teams. My name's Travis. I'm joined with TDS. TDS, tell me, how are you feeling? Because this was a very intensive game.
Yeah, it was kind of chaotic. A lot of back and forths when you think about it. I feel like Briarcliff kind of messed up a great opportunity to try and not only put themselves ahead in the series, but to just keep complete control of the game because they were doing really good. The Morgana, the Corki, and the Rakan as well were pairing up really, really nicely. And Oxy, left to his own affairs, was doing really, really good on the side. Like there was a chance where the Fiora could be the sole win condition, and the game could have gone really, really well for Briarcliff. But I feel like at one point they kind of deviated from everything that was working out, and we're kind of walking slowly but surely into the fosses of Ohio Northern.
I mean, I'll be honest. After that game, there's only one way to think about it, right? It was a nice mixing pot of a lot of different things. We talked about like the different chefs inside the kitchen and whatnot. I only have one thing to go. I actually got inspired, TDS, after we got done with that game. I was very inspired leaving out of here. So I went to my kitchen, and I was just like, man, you know what? I'm gonna make a concoction, right? So I have this here. You can't see inside of it or anything like that, but I'm just gonna describe some very apple. I got some very heavy apple in here, but also there's a little bit of cinnamon. I put a little cinnamon inside of this. You know, you get a little cinnamon inside of it with your apple. Winning composition. You know, it's one of those great things to come about. It's good. It's tasty. This game here. That was such a good game. As we're going to go ahead and look at the roster. They were like, yo, we got to talk about this real quick. There's a roster swap that's happening. Ohio Northern's making a change in the top lane, bringing in Aggression, a.k.a. Fernando, over into the top side.
And it's not typical we see the team that won actually make the change, but maybe it's an attempt to try and make Oxy's life a bit more difficult, right? Because Oxy was one of the better performers from Briarcliff in that first game. I think that Oxy was playing really, really well, and if not for a couple of deviations to how their plan was working out, could have been the one that wins the game at the end. I want to see them play more for Oxy because he was really delivering on that Fiora, and maybe a bit more attention up there in the top lane could have turned around that game more.
I do like to go back and like look at Twitch chat in between games. Fun fact, I see you guys' messages whenever I finish a game and inside of my break. I usually will like on my phone, I'll just go through it real quick. One of my favorites, and this is going to might be my reason why right now, is there was a point in time on the gameplay where they had 95% crit chance and they apparently didn't crit, and I think it was the fight where it was down bot where Raymond survived, and I'm like, that's the reason. That's the reason. He was just like, I'm done. I hate this game. This game sucks. I have 95% crit chance and I can't hit? That is stupid. I stand with you, is all I'm saying.
How unlucky do you have to be to have 95 and be the 5%, right? Like,
right!
Like, there... Yeah, we know people that had. I remember the time when you took the crit rune, right? When runes were different than what they are today, and you could take the crit rune inside of the 80 carry pool, and you had that 1% crit chance in lane, and it just kind of won you the lane randomly. This is the complete opposite. This is you losing the game, or not losing the game, but losing fights because you're on the 5%, the one that never crits.
You turn off your computer at that point in time, which is what happened at this, right? Right? That's what you do as a response. That's what I would do as a response there. But hey, things is neither here nor there. We're switching around to different bits. I'm wondering how this does change up the dynamic. Side selection is also flipping around, so that could be another thing that's interesting. I do wonder if you take away any particular picks from BCU in this instance. I think BCU might actually not ban Karma now that they're not on red side.
Yeah, could be one of the champions that are left open. I think from the previous game, there was nothing that I would argue you want to ban away on first rotation, unless Briar want to pick the Fiora again in first rotation. You probably just wait for second rotation to ban it away. On the first one, well, the Nico actually, not a bad choice. Kato certainly was finding perfect angles with the Pop Blossom, and if you want to play the Karma, you probably don't want to face against a Nico that pretty much messes up the team completely. On the other side, we're going to wait and see if it's the Karma or there's other champions you want to worry about.
Yeah, there's the Nico ban that comes about. I think you ban that easily, and then I think on the third one, I think if you don't ban Karma, Ohio has to know that they're picking that Karma. But I think the respect they're showing towards this Twisted Fate. Cameron played a lot of Twisted Fate. They played the AP variant, so they did the Rod of Ages into Lichbane build, and then they would alternate between whether they felt they needed the survivability or if they needed the rapid fire cannon to add to that extra layer of utility. So I see the reason why they want to get rid of it. Get rid of them being able to ball up together and make fights happen. The Fiora that was picked up for Briarcliff last time is up, and is the Karma.
Yeah, the Karma, they were taking their sweet time, but it was going to be that Karma. It's recently buffed, really strong right now in the current patch, and not surprised at all that they are taking it. I still feel like it's a champion that you can flex around in multiple positions, not only as a support, but as a support, it's still really, really strong, and it makes complete sense that they want to go for it. As Kato, taking the Corki for himself, is it a Corki Rakan rotation once again in 1-2 red side?
I don't know. Cuz I believe can play it. I always
Okay.
think of Cuz as like our like tank initiator, so it is a character I could see Cuz playing. But from the time I've seen Cuz in 2023 at least, I think of the Alistair,
Ooh.
the Nautilus, even the Braum at times. But instead, J4, the
I like the
Prince
J4.
from Demacia. I like it.
Yeah, really nice try and force the picks. It's similar to the Listen in the idea of trying to make the game go really quickly and wanting to force plays really early on to make this snowball happen. But he's going to be tankier. He's going to have more utility when the game, the longer the game goes. And then you can pair it up really nicely with the Corki, the package Cataclysm combo. Even if you push them a bit, they're not going to be pushed away from the Cataclysm. So you can kind of trap them inside of a really of fire inside of the Cataclysm, kind of the Rumble combo with the Jarvan as well, so can be a really nice idea overall. On the other side, Listen Rakan, nothing surprising here, and I'm kind of interested in seeing where the Karma goes then, if it's going to be a Rakan support.
I think it's a Karma mid,
Mid?
then at that rate, if you're going for the Rakan support. It's interesting that you kind of lose out on the mystery. Otzi is like a solo lane kind of player. They like to play those like, I dominate you in the side lane kind of characters. Like they played Darius, they played Fiora, they've played what was it? They played Jats as well yesterday. They had one Ornn game, but it's just like Otzi strikes me as the type of player who's like, I want side lane pressure. Give me my island. I don't want to be around you guys. Like that seems like what Otzi wants to kind of go for.
Yeah, it does feel like that. I do agree. So it's going to be interesting seeing what they opt into and what they play with it, right? Because now that Briarcliff saw the power from Oxy, I feel like they want to play, maybe not towards him, but playing champions that even if the Fiora or anything that is up there in the top lane, you can still be completely fine in a 4v5 situation. So the Karma and the Rakan can work out well. I can see maybe another AD carry, something with super long range, maybe, like a Varus.
Here's the interesting thing. Ohio Northern rounded off their composition in the first phase with this Maokai. This gives them a lot of flexibility on what they want to decide that they want to choose here in terms of lane assignment, because they can actually move this Maokai around a little bit if they ever so wanted to, because we have seen Jarvan go up into the top side. You pick your AD carry
Like
here.
Messiah.
You actually have this very interesting thing where you have the Jarvan Maokai that could possibly interflex with something, so you actually don't have a hard idea of where everything is going, because they have the options to kind of go everywhere.
That would be interesting if it goes. Yeah, and it's big, so this could be Tristana top lane. If I'm betting on anything, I would be more willing to bet Tristana top than anything else, because Pookie just played the Ashe in the AD carry position more as a supportive Ashe, so it could be perfectly sent there. And then you have a pretty aggressive top laner if it's the Tristana, and then the K'Santa to close it up on Ohio Northern. This is a really weird turn of events for BCU. I need to know where they are sending it. It's Oxy actually taking the Karma.
Yeah. So it makes sense. You were talking about it. It's a good flex pick. Okay, I went on a rant about it, TDS, so you get to hear it here because you're brand new and you get to hear my rant fresh. I think when Karma is in the meta, it is a bad time. The reason why is because it is a three-way flex champion that is viable three ways. And are you experienced at being able to play Karma top, right? Is always like the question I have. Do you pick Karma early, say it's a flex, and then assign it to the person who is the quietest when it says who wants this? Like, I've been in team environments where that's happened. I've seen that. I've felt that. I've experienced it. You know how many times I got forced to play Lulu top? I hated Lulu top.
But Lulu top is fun. I remember laughing at people that I
You're part of the
killed.
problem. It's one of those things where it's like, It's not a fun time. And the weird thing that happens here is Karma did just get a buff, right?
Yeah.
You
a strong
want
one.
Otzi to be together with the team now, and Otzi is their best performances has been that side lane carry. You're forcing a whole new playstyle as well onto
Yep.
Otzi. And I don't know how I feel about it. And Cassante, I think, has a good matchup in the Karma as well.
Well, I would argue it's more so a matchup that you don't need to do anything because the Karma can push you, but Kisante just wants to farm. And then if she is out of position, she doesn't have tools to escape the Kisante, right? Like it's flash and she's dead or she's dead. So like there's a lot of ways to try and play the Kisante accordingly. And then the Karma is not going to be your hyper carry. She's going to be a great laner and a great value for the team overall. But this time around, especially because we didn't see great things from Spooky, not wanting to say that Spooky played badly or anything like that, but he wasn't really outstanding. It's pretty much going to be completely on Camera and Mike. And if they are not able to deliver, the Karma just feels a little bit weak in comparison.
Going into it, game number 2 between these two teams. Ohio Northern standing up with 1 game 2 apiece. Cliff needs to fight back. They're going with a little bit of spice. I do like the fact that they say, hey, I don't want to do the stereotypical strategies. I think that's a great thing. And I do think that they don't have a stereotypical team. You look over at like Spooky, for example, you were bringing up. And a lot of people will actually flame a carry for the marksman role for not having like insane carry performance numbers or anything of that sort. But what this player does do, which is I think is very underrated, and it's something I actually try to do whenever I get put bot lane because I am not a bot laner, or bot lane main, is I actually try to fit into a more supportive niche, and I try to make sure that my solo lanes are actually able to be empowered. Ashe is one of those champions that's very good at that. Yep. Do I agree with the fact that they may go a supportive build like they did yesterday? No. I think you still go the marksman build. But you do look over at it, and that Enchanted Crystal Arrow and the Hawk Shots still carry value to help enable your team.
Yeah, and I think this playstyle obviously was much more enabled previously where you could spam the W a bunch more times. It was going to be much more effective. I think the issue here is the way that the rest of the team feels around it, right? It's not so much about the Ashe being not being that useful in that context because like you're mentioning, Enchanted Crystal Arrow still super low cooldown and Hawkshot gives a lot of utility for the team. The problem is when the rest of the team is not doing that great, the less carries you have, the harder it is for your team to actually play it out. And when you have a Karma and an Ashe, both playing supportive roles technically on different sides of the map, then you're pretty much banking everything on your mid laner, which in some cases can be a good enough strategy, but it also means that if it fails, the rest of the team can just completely fall over. And that's a really risky scenario to create for yourself. It's not necessarily bad, but it's difficult to play out.
I'll just say this right now. I just finished watching a show on Netflix. This is my hashtag plug for a show for our podcast while we're waiting for the pause to be done with. There's a show I watched recently called Fermat's Cuisine. I think it's pronounced Fermat's. Very good show. It's a Japanese show. Apparently it's based off a manga. Didn't know that. So I can't tell you if it's better than the manga because I haven't read said manga.
Understandable.
So I don't have like the Netflix ruined this. Pretty good show. And it's about like a dude who is it's about a dude who was like a mathematician turned chef and all that other stuff. Really cool stuff. He's like using math to solve food problems and all that stuff. Anyways, the reason why I bring this up is you got your head chef, right? You got a person in the kitchen that's looking to cook. Everybody on a team got their ace. Even if you're a team of just 5 friends coming together, there's always that one player who is just that good, who is always the ace. What you have is you got your sous chefs, man. You got the other people in the kitchen that are making sure that everything's good, that are able to have everything prepared. If you fall behind as the ace, they're there to pick you up. I think that is kind of what the role that we see in Briarcliff is. They do have a couple players that are insanely good. I think that there are a couple players mechanically that are doing good jobs, but you got the sous chefs that are over there that I think are actually pretty dangerous because they do pick up the team when they are crumbling down. They say, all right, yo, it's time. Look, you need these onions diced? They already diced. I got you. Like, that is Fermat's Cuisine taught me a lot about League of Legends, if you can't tell TDS.
Okay,
Great show. It's like 10 episodes.
A fair comparison, cooking and League of Legends. There's a lot of mints around it. I'm not a huge cooking person myself, so I cannot put on the shoes of a cook. But I can say that I've seen multiple kitchens just crumble over because multiple people want to try and come and go into the same thing all at once. And in the previous game, it was kind of the same thing, right? Radcliffe did go for something like that. In this game, the approach is much more fair for everyone to a certain degree, it feels like, because now there's a much clearer role that everyone needs to play. But the result may be the same. Even if you change strategies, the result may be the same. So hopefully they can try and play this off a bit better.
All right, we talked a lot about Brian. Let's go ahead and talk about the real thing that I want to talk about. I want to talk about probably one of my most played champions. It's probably, I think it was top 3 for 2023. Maokai.
Okay.
Let's talk about the Maokai.
Oh, you're a Maokai guy.
You are throwing your saplings at people. I like to play what I call fastball Maokai, which is you are constantly throwing your saplings at people. They are never in your hand. You always chug them not chug, throw them, chunk them, whatever you want to do, just throw them at the enemy as a support. You actually are such a menace. And you know what my strategy is, TDS? TDS, you want to hear it? You want to hear my secret strategy?
I'm kind of curious. Maybe I can use it in solo queue myself.
Yeah, like as soon as you get your saplings, leave lane. Go into the opposition's jungle and throw saplings inside their jungle. You can throw them from the river into the bushes, and it's the biggest annoyance. You know what the secret to that tech is?
I honestly don't know, but I'm guessing damage.
Correct. What kind of damage?
Okay. Magical damage?
Emotional damage. It messes with every jungler's tempo. Every jungler hates a sapling being inside. It triggers every single jungler you go into. So you know what? Who was the most fragile emotionally inside of a League of Legends game?
The AD carry.
It's the jungler.
Well, I would argue the AD carry, but yeah, I can second the jungler as well.
Yeah, but they don't get phased as much by my saplings. The jungler's right there. The jungler's the one that's usually in all chat. That's like,
you can still deal damage to them. You can still deal emotional damage to the AD carry if you just throw them at their faces every turn. Like not even just for the damage, just to mess up with them. That's illegal there.
You're understanding my madness. The psychological advantage. League of Legends is a psychological game. Sometimes psychological horror, but it is psychological anyways.
I feel like just this disclaimer: we are not promoting messing up with people's mental in solo queue. We're just saying it's a strategy, okay?
I am going to go ahead and counter at that by saying I promote messing the other team's mental. So, do what it takes to win. Get your elo.
The argument is, which mental do you want to mess up with? Your team's or theirs?
Choose. Give your team a healthy mental by making them break down. There's nothing better than watching the breakdown happen in all chat. I'm just saying that right now. I'm giving a lot of expose into my personality when I play League of Legends. But there's something that is so satisfying when you see the breakdown inside of the all chat where the jungler's just like, this Maokai won't leave me alone. And then he picks a fight with his AD carry because his AD carry isn't stopping me. And of course, then his mental booms. That's a 2-for-1 special.
It works out pretty consistently. I cannot argue with that. And I gotta say, it's pretty great when you get to experience that both in English and Spanish, since I'm also from Latin America. So you actually get double the flavor when it's in Spanish. It's just funnier because you understand it, obviously, the insults over here. And then here, it's just like, it's funny because over there, it's insults in general. But it's not just like the typical F or bombs or anything like that. It's more detailed towards your whole life and way of growing up. Like, they attack every aspect of yourself and a bit more. But over here, it's more so attacking everything else, which is kind of funny.
I just like to think that the narrator from Hunter x Hunter comes in and just like, it was at this moment that TDS didn't realize that he was facing down an opponent with this ability to trigger him with your mom.
Like, I at some point wish it was only my mom, but then you see that it's your grandmom, your ancestor, the ancestor of your other ancestor.
Oh, they start walking you through your family tree. Oh no!
There's a pretty consistent route that they take where you attack every bit of their family and then you go for your friends. as well, just in
Go
case.
for the throat.
We
That's the
don't,
throat.
yeah, we
That's
don't
the
want to
throat.
leave anyone alive. We want to attack everyone that is related to you in any way, so that you feel extra pain. That's the approach.
That is terrifying. That is actually terrifying, and I love that. And I'm sad I'm missing out on that. I need to become like bilingual at this moment in time.
Yeah,
Yes,
it's
teach me
enjoyable, I
right
gotta
now,
say.
immediately. I can learn this tonight while we're in this pause, right?
You can learn the basic words from Spanish. I'm pretty sure. Like I would guess, a lot of Americans know Spanish words, or I'm actually going to go farther. North Americans know Spanish words, just because there's a lot of like.
Okay. When it comes down to it, at least in the region I live in,
Okay.
we have a Spanish class, right? We had a
Yep.
Spanish class. We did not have anything insane. It wasn't mandatory by any means. The only Spanish word that we tried to look up were the curse words that we're not supposed to say. So those are the only words that we ever actually put the attention into. Even the people that signed up for Spanish class were like, they were like the insiders. They were like, yeah, if you combine this word with this word, you're making a sentence with that curse word. And it's like,
Yep.
oh, that's crazy. The tech, they were about it too. They were degenerates as well. Everybody around me was degenerates.
I'm kind of curious if they will also know the fact that you can just alter like depending on the country, like you can alter the words, right? Because not every country has the same curse words. So you can actually make use of multiple different curse words depending on the country.
That's a weird thing that I have noticed, and I've always wondered why that is. But you know what? Something I'm not going to wonder why it is. We're back. Our podcast is over. The TDST show is done for now. We're getting into this game as see what these two squads are going to be able to do against one another. As by the way, it's Comet Karma. Is that the way you think? Because I remember when we had top lane Karma, it was like that tank build Karma that was so annoying.
Yeah, it was. I think Grasp Karma with just trying to take as much procs as possible. I remember there was also a potential with First Strike, so that you just get multiple instances of the First Strike when you just attack, and since it was melee against range, you pretty much just procced it like 4 or 5 times, and it's really consistent with you. The other one would be Airy, but Comet is a bit more poke oriented, it feels like.
Yeah, it is very interesting, just because it does tell me the story of like, all right, you're a melee tank boy, right, Cassanta? You kind of, you don't appreciate me poking you down, right? And it just tells me that story. But even though they're just gonna keep autoing them down, maybe they should have gone PTA at this rate. A lot of autos.
Only thing I'm sad is Kaz is not taking Comet either, so like he's not going to be poking that heavily.
Yeah, it's a interesting economy, but nonetheless, everything else is going to be pretty chill down here into the bot side. On Maokai support, you do normally like to take like your WQ. It's just your standpoint. Your E is meant to harass people. Another reason why I love to go harass my opposing jungler is I have a full kit in the kitchen sink to throw at him. But Cuz taking a good trade there. Good thing from Raymond to call the shot as Spooky fires in a couple arrows.
And one of the funny parts also that I've seen with the Maokai support is the fact that you can just kind of regain health by hitting minions, and you just kind of farm for your AD carry as well in the process. Like you do 2 things at the same time, and it helps pretty much everyone. But like that was still a lot of damage onto Cause, and another engage like that could end up being really detrimental for them. Oh, Lizzie gets it.
That was stolen. That was stolen. Yep. Mike got it. Yeah. No, the Julian did not get their blue buff, and look at this. This is yet again what I asked for from Briarcliff was to be proactive. Look at this level of proactivity. Mike had a killer KM on the Lee Sin yesterday as well, so we might just be in store for another classic from Mike.
Well, we have the first game from Julian being really good on the Lee Sin. This second one, maybe it's Mike's show. Mike's time to shine and be able to deliver on the Lee Sin. And now the third game could be the story of who gets Lee Sin and who can carry with it. Oh, really good cancel there.
Yeah, they get the great cancel to come in. Julian getting absolutely bullied. Flag and drag does not make the mark either. They can't punish Mike any further than this. Righto, getting the bomb dropped on them as well. Camera will lay in a good amount of hurt. That is a tough scenario to be inside of, as Julian's just kind of getting pushed around as this Lee Sin took Scuttle Crab right in front of him. That's the definition of emotional damage.
And a big problem now is that Mike is going to be a bit farther ahead than the Jarvan fourth. On the clear, he's going to get another Scuttle Crab. And he can pretty much look around the map where he wants to try and attempt going, maybe even a dive. Meanwhile, the Jarvan can try and go for a contest here, but he's just not that strong at this point. Oh,
well, he did get a reset while items are happening after a trade happens bot lane. So I don't think Lee Sin wants to go for a play just yet, but he does have that level advantage. Karma's actually the first person on the rotation. Aggression a little bit slow on the rebound, and this is a bit of that interesting dichotomy as he goes in, pushes him up against the wall. There's the stun. Can they solidify a kill? Black and Drag hits the mark onto Otzi, but check out Cammer coming in from the mid lane. Corky slow on the rotation. Can they get first blood? Julian finds it. First blood secured. The Tristana finishes off another one. Kind of low on mana. There's no way for them to be able to finish off this kill. And Aggression misses with those stone tonfas. They're going unstoppable, but that does not make you unkillable. Ooh. The bomb ticking away, but it won't be enough. They'll finish off Aggression. A 1-for-1 in the top lane.
Maybe they do make him unkillable because at the end Aggression doesn't actually die, but really funny to see Kato going into the fight with absolutely no mana. He burst every bit of mana he had left on that one W that he just went forward with. Really random, but at the end it just means that it's going to be a 1-for-1.
1-for-1 trade. I mean, honestly, if you're looking at it, it was 1 kill onto the Tristana, 1 kill onto Julian. I think that's nice for Julian, but I don't think the tempo from Mike is going to stop. I actually look at that and I'm like, you know what? Cameron got they got the good end. Briarcliff, after the way Cameron played in the last game, I think that's the best way you could possibly have this situation pop out, because we're talking about every team has that one player who is able to showcase their talents no matter what. For me, Cameron's that guy over in Briarcliff.
If you want to get someone ahead, certainly Camera feels like a great choice to give gold to. And at this point, as long as Camera is able to get a lot going, I can see Briarcliff just getting ahead in a good way in the game. It's something we were talking about in draft, and certainly so far it's working out. I want to see Mike though come into mid lane a bit more. Like, oh, you already got the initial attempts at trying to work against the Jarvan. Now try and put more pressure in the mid lane.
Yeah, if you're able to, right? It's a hard ask.
It's against, yeah.
It's Corky Tristana, and it's such a hard one to get onto. Both of them have W's that just make them very hard to be able to gank on to if you're not able to get into the right position. So it does become a question of how and when are you able to. I like this from Ohio Northern. They're going to grab the first dragon inside of this one with off at the back of their bot lane pressure. That's another lane. It did really well for themselves inside of the last game inside the laning phase. Like to see it again as Camera get blown up, dodging out the rocket. It will stay alive. And same can be said for Camera. Camera needs to be a little bit careful. They are in a dangerous situation with that low HP.
Yeah, there was a big one that could have killed the Tristana in that position. Luckily, nothing happens. There is a bit of a move from Oxy, but it's not going to turn into much. Oh, no.
Yeah, here comes Mike down to the bot lane. Cuz goes in, makes a twisted advance. The root only connects on the 2 members. They're going to go down. But while this is all happening, Otzi roamed all the way down to the mid lane just to get buried. Hammer dropped as well inside the exchange, inside the mid lane. Those are some big kills going over inside of the mid lane matchup. A 2-for-1 all over the map.
Yeah, it's 2 more kills. They kill the Tristana, they kill the Karma, and now maybe Mike wants to attempt and go into onto Kato, but I don't think you actually get anything. Even if you go on top of Yulian, there is Dragon's Rage actually.
Oh yeah, he burned the Dragon Rage kick. He actually stopped the flag and drag off of that, so that is a shutdown to come across. Put him in a very weird state because there is a buffer time when you land off of that. Cuz is here to try and help make sure that chicken stays secured, but you can see Kaito doesn't want any of it. It's out of mana. They do not want to continue for a trade here, especially since Tristana has now had enough time fought for them. Good recovery from Briarcliff.
It's not the first time we've seen Kato with no mana at all, but yeah, it's a good recovery. You still get a counter kill. The gold still really close between each other, and Tristana is going to get another plate here, plus a big damage onto the turret. So overall, really nice what they are able to accomplish here. And if they can keep on finding advantages like this, then they can try and push the issue a bit more. First Dragon, we didn't comment much on it, but it did go in favor of Ohio Northern, so the stacking is in their favor at this point. Oh,
this Corki is not enjoying any of that damage. I was actually about to talk about it too. I do not see Tristanas ever take aggressive summoners. They never take Ignite. They always take something defensive. Even when I play mid lane Tristana, I'm like, all right, I want to take like a Flash Ghost. Right?
Yeah.
That's usually like my go-to that I like to take on mid lane Tristana. In Ignite on this Tristana is actually kind of terrifying and kind of almost fell victim to it.
It was really scary, and it almost worked out really well. Raymond utilized the fact that he reached level 6 and was able to almost force Kato into an awful spot. He was able, well, at the very least, they did push the Corki away from lane, so he missed out on some of the minions, and Tristana was able to push away a bit more into the turret. It's interesting how they are playing out the fact that they are leaving the Ashe down there by herself. She's losing out on minions, but because they are playing kind of with the second AD carry being supported by Raymond, that Tristana is in comparison in a really nice spot.
I think the interesting part of that is just the fact that it does speak volumes to them being like, all right, Spooky, grab the farm, they're going to shove into you. Like, they're not freezing this wave, really.
Yep.
Right, from Ohio Northern is what I'm realizing. I think it is a little bit of an adaptation and a little bit of a stylistic thing as well. Just the fact that they're like, Spooky, you're on Ashe. We want you to be a little bit more supportive inside this game. You're going to be shooting off your hot shots. You're going to use your arrows. Just fire where we need you to. We're going to use that, your farm up. You'll be able to catch waves. You won't fall any further behind than like 10 CS. And I like this. You know, they see that they have this this objective that's going on. And they call it, hey, just shoot an Ashe arrow here. You might catch somebody if a fight starts up, and it will be a big stun because you're shooting from across the map. But I like the fact that they're even just like, all right, yeah, it's a short cooldown. We're doing an objective. Just use it to kind of give us cover fire.
Yeah, it's a lot of, if it works out, great, we can play around that. If not, we just know that no one is going to contest us, and we're completely fine taking this by ourselves. Even though it really is not a risky play, it's still a really beneficial one when you're able to find the avenue to make the most out of it. As Oxy misses a pretty big Q there, pretty unlucky, but he still has a lot of control over the top lane, same for the mid lane, and then in bot lane, there's no real risk. It just feels like they are trading farm, and then later on in the game, Kai and Spooky are going to find each other fighting.
I really want to see Kai just freeze the wave.
Yeah.
They are shoving almost senselessly. Mike comes over, he's able to take advantage. But if they freeze the wave instead of just constantly shoving it in, I feel like Kai is in a position where Spooky won't be able to recover by themselves, and you have to call Mike over to Mike and Raymond over to settle out the wave. Instead, what's happening is Raymond has now assumed a different role. They're no longer a support. They are second jungler. They are constantly with Mike. They're in the mid lane, constantly making trouble so that Waycamer does not go down, who has been a star player for them. This is a very rough scenario. Look at this, the package having to be used defensively. Mike got taken for a wild ride. They were not anticipating the Cataclysm is going to be their coffin. And Raymond trying to escape, but that package, they were not expecting them to go on such a wild ride like that. Kai, 1v1 in Spooky, goes ahead, uses the cleanse, expecting the Ren to come about, but not going to be able to find that. While this all happening, Tristana, Demolition Crew in the mid lane, that's what you need to do.
Yeah, even if she doesn't get the full turret, she still is doing so much damage. Oh, Kato is doing so much damage though.
Kaito! Buster Shot goes in, Ignite was available. Actually might have gotten a kill if they pressed the Ignite key there, so
yeah,
a little bit unfortunate, but they were fighting for their life. I don't blame them.
That was after a teleport as well from Kato, so actually losing out on that trade. They tried to go really aggressive against a Tristana, and I respect the hustle. Oh, see?
Okay, aggression. Staying true to the name. Be aggressive. Otzi going to not appreciate anything about that and says, all right, you know what? You're Stone Tomfas. Get them away from me. I don't want to deal with them at all. Get on away from me. I'm going to recall. I got teleport. You're going to be sorry when I get back.
But that is pretty close to what we were talking about as well with the Karma K'Sante matchup, right? The K'Sante has never been really in a place where he's completely out of lane. Yeah, he's being harassed and he's lost plays, but he's still farming. He's in a really good spot. He got his first item. Then on the other side, the Karma missteps once. she has to flash immediately because if not, she's dying so quickly to the Kisante. And that is something that you have to be extra careful about if you're Oxy.
Yeah, this itemization too is just a very, very hard flow to deal with. It's one of the things I also don't like about it. If you're playing like the AP Karma variant up in the top side, you're playing into a take matchup. Eventually the take is just going to build against you and make it to where you're not going to be able to find the trade as needed. But here we go, Julian caught out of position. Will force the ultimate from the Maokai.
Oh,
It will be able to back up. Spooky caught alt tab for a moment there. Looked like just gotten big burst. Kind of took notice of it. It's just like, oh, I'm gonna take advantage of this. A competitive League of Legends game.
Mike, this is a Kisante. Just saying.
It's a Kasante with no ult.
What? No ulti, actually, yeah.
So he's like, all right, I'll pick this fight. This is a fight I'll pick. Mike is completely fine. They are going to show no fear. And Kaido drops a bomb on top of Spooky's head. That's a lot of damage. And Spooky's going to think net twice next time they walk up to the Corki.
Yeah, and that should be a turret in the bot lane plus the mid lane getting pushed as well. They may lose Reperil, but overall, I think it's fine for Ohio Northern. Yes, they are not gaining a ton, but realistically, with the way that the game goes and the fact that they have champions that scale so greatly, they can just completely fine give up this Herald and try and gain advantages on the other side of the map. Allow for Kai to farm, allow for Corki to get really strong, and then you just wait out the game another 40 minutes like the first one and win it out.
Sure, great strategy, right? You got this. You got this win condition that is there right now. Kai's win condition is staying far away from this Tristana. We are going to see the charge coming in. They're going to try and destroy the tower before the charge finishes off, and there they go, right into the tower, and they'll be able to find their mark, drop it down to half HP. Some devastation in the mid lane.
Yeah, and Kai did take quite a bit of damage. Oh, Ash Arrow.
Arrow hits its mark. That's what I was talking about from Spooky. Ooh, woo, as they continue to go forward. Come on to the side on that Tristana. Free hitting inside there. Jump in, jump out, jump in, jump out. Kai looking like the next person on the menu. They are going to continue, though, to tear apart the HP bars. And while everything looked so good at the very beginning, Kai walking away with a double kill in Ohio Northern. Coming out on top.
Well, it ended up being a 5 against 4 because Spooky was all the way on the bot lane. Yes, the Ash Arrow started the fight, but then on the other side of the map, they were just fighting completely fine. And oh, Kato, Spooky's fine. He ran away, but that still is such a good fight by Ohio Northern. Once again, the Corki comes in and it's being the start of the show so effectively. And then Kai, even though he was so low health at the start of it, he was able to flash over the wall, bait Cammer, and then just kill the both of them.
I think the thing that interests me the most, too, because you brought up the 4v5. Corki was not there for a little bit at the very beginning of that fight as well. So you can kind of see the fight turn around. But it's that I feel like there was a little bit of a miscommunication dynamic in there as well, because you could see them focused on Kai at one point, and then you could see Cameron actually jumping out of the fight and then jumping back in to try and get onto Kai. So I feel like there was like a they misconceived exactly how strong they were, and one person was probably calling for a back off, and another person was calling to actually continue pressing the advantage. Now with package, this could be a completely big fight to blow things open in favor of Ohio Northern.
It's 30 seconds for Dragon, so package, you have to be able to utilize it effectively. A fight may be forced by the side of Ohio Northern, but the 10 members are here in the mid lane. They want to look for something. They're just waiting for what they can look for.
I mean, that trick key was just used. This is the play that I would look for. Otzi, you are caught out in no man's land. You threw out a big haymaker and you missed your shot. Julian gets hit with the enchanted crystal arrow, and now it's trying to come in. Mike, you don't want to tag this. Kasante, aggression will make sure you remember the name, but Tristana free firing all onto the side, all the same.
And they have to be careful. Raymond able to tank a bit of the damage with the Guardian, but they are going to look now for the Dragon. Yes, there's no Karma. She has teleport, so if they are able to buy their time, maybe they can fight this. But at this point, it just feels like the control is so much more in favor of Ohio Northern.
I mean, this is a double marksman composition too, right? Like, this thing is something hard to
And?
be able to contest. And here we go. They're going to fight over the pit. They're going to be able to free hit onto the side here. Look at camera over here,
Oh,
but the Cataclysm
perfect
coming in.
engage
Going to have to use that rocket jump to get out of harm's way. Mike and Raymond have gone down, and now they're going to be able to find a wee little Tristana all on their lonesome. That's camera going down.
Oxy is looking for something here still. Maybe try and find someone. No, he's just going to go bot side. But yeah, it's all the kills in favor of Ohio Northern. The Dragons as well going in favor of Ohio Northern. And Briarcliff needs to try and find something to hold onto for the game, because at this point, it just feels like it's not going to go their way.
Well, this definitely feels like Briarcliff are they started off being fairly proactive, and now they're in this situation now where Ohio Northern is ahead. And Ohio Northern, they got a 5K lead for themselves. They're feeling good. And this is a lead that was born from them being ahead individually, right? Like, you look at this, look at the bot lane from Kai, look at Kaido, right? Who has fought tooth and nail with Cameron, but has created a lead for themselves. And then even Julian, who was falling behind early on in comparison to Mike, has regained their composure brilliantly because of these two key members being able to be strong while the rest held steadfast.
And I think a big part of this also comes from Briarcliff kind of not understanding how their game was going to be played around in a lot of those situations. Not because they did something entirely wrong, but because they kind of played the game with an idea of the previous game, where they have an Ashe that it's playing support Ashe. And it's fine. It's understandable if you want to leave her down there in the bot lane by herself. Oh, Ito.
Yeah, Cameron's looking for it, but this is actually a trap. Julian was
no.
waiting in the wings. They were calling their shot for this one. Cud's going to go ahead and make a twisted advance into the mid lane while Otzi is stuck inside of the crater. Here comes Kazante.
No.
Aggression picks up the kill onto Otzi. Mike trying to finish something off for himself. Featherstorm goes in, doesn't miss its mark. Kai gets the kill, and now it's Spooky Uwu and Raymond. Spooky doesn't get the blast cone, and it's disaster-rific for them as they are going to get twisted advance upon. Kazante will continue to lay in the hurt. Raymond is waiting there, hand on his chin, just like, yeah, this is troublesome.
Honestly surprised that Ohio Northern doesn't just look for Baron here. They killed 4 members. There is teleport on Oxy, but they can just look for Baron and try and take it. If they try to go for a Baron, it's just simply so easy for them to try and turn around the situation. But they are going to stay respectful.
Oh, they're going for another play there. They want the Hellmaker. Kai is such a bad situation. Otzi teleported above. They are going to get what they can get. And what they can get is Cuz. They're still hunting at this current moment in time. Rocket Jump has been refreshed. So he's going to hop over the wall. Going to continue their hot pursuit for Kai. Enchanted Crystal Arrow only finds onto the Jarvan. Can they solidify another kill off the back of it? They jump away and the bomb ticks away.
There's no jungler now.
Blowing up and taking off Julian. But there's no objective down here.
They cannot take any objective down here, and they are far away from the Baron buff. So if they want to make something happen, they have to take one of the turrets. They are too far away. So even though they collect... Oh. No, it's not going to turn into anything.
That was an interesting idea.
Yeah. Maybe it's a way to make the insect happen, right? Like you blast cone into the back of Corki, then you push him away, you get on top of him, and that way you kill 2 birds without dying yourself.
That's a dream scenario, TDS. That's the scenario where I see something and I'm like, you're and like, yes, and it's like a 1 in a million chance of ever working.
But what if this is that 1 in a million chance?
Then we'll have it here and it will be clip live on the MEC channel.
True. It's one of the two, really. But if not, maybe we get another clip-worthy play.
I'm sure. These two teams have been fighting quite often. This time, though, it is a different story. Ohio Northern, very, very dedicated lead at the current moment. They're at that 10K mark. Ohio Northern. This game right here, I don't think we're going to see a 40-minute flashback from game number 1. This feels like a different Ohio Northern after they got that lead. And... right, it's one of those things where now they're going to catch Otzi over here in the side. They're playing this Karma. You can't split with it. Teleport, make sure that Kato gets the kill and is dominating. This is just Ohio Northern. They kind of get to eat where they want.
Yeah, and they have package once again, so they can just go for a play here. Oh, Raymond.
Yeah, Raymond Was looking for a possible one. Big 3-person charm to be able to go through. Featherstorm stops Mike from being able to hit that Dragon Rage kit. The package comes in
no.
to find the brothers in destruction coming in clutch. Kai getting saved by his brother Kaido, making sure everything is a-okay. Brother Kai, what was your HP at? There was no way you had more than double-digit HP. Oh man, what a save!
And they not only lose out on getting the kill there, they lose out on the dragon, they lose out on the mid lane inhibitor turret, plus maybe the inhibitor, and now everyone is moving for Baron as well. It's one bounty obtained, but everything else completely getting collapsed here, and that has to be so painful. That is a Hail Mary play to try and get a kill, and it not working out by just slight difference in health bar is so damning.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, sure, it is, and we're gonna see Baron go out. This is Soul, that's for Ohio Northern. They've got all the tools in their disposal to make sure that they get a win. The question is, how did they do it? For me, I do kind of look back at this and I go, well, Briarcliff, I like the fact that they went for something unique here, but you can see where it doesn't work out inside this case, right? It's a bit too crazy, a little bit too much. You've put a foreign ingredient inside of it, right? Like the last game was like this perfect concoction from these teams where they just put together a whole bunch of things that meshed really well together. And this one was like they put peanut butter in my tea, right? Like that doesn't work. You don't put peanut butter in tea. It doesn't belong there.
Yeah, it doesn't sound that good to try and taste, in all honesty.
Yeah, I'm not gonna try it. I'm gonna tell you that right now, TDS.
Yeah, I understand why you wouldn't. It also kind of feels like in the previous game, Ohio Northern had to claw back from a deficit, but this time around, since they got the lead, it was much more smooth sailing to just continue going forward, right? It's not trying to turn back the game into their favor, but just simply riding the wave and completely destroying Briarcliff in the process.
See it. Want more of it. You see the flag and drag from Julian. Not gonna find the mark, but we'll continue to press the advantage, be as aggressive as possible. And you know what? I just want to see more of that. I want to see more of these players going for different instances like this. And here we go. Flag and drag in. Doesn't find the mark. Continue, Julian. Keep doing this. Be that bully that you were getting bullied like in the early game. Raymond's going to be the one that said they had enough. They're going to be able to only catch aggression on this. The Enchanted Crystal Arrow only hits onto aggression as well. The Imperial Mandate on Ashe has been completed at this moment in time. It's that supportive build I was talking about with the Ashe. But it's just not enough. You're not going to be able to make something happen with this. Your teammates are a little bit too weak.
Wait, Lee Sin is split pushing.
Yeah, Lee Sin is split pushing. That alright, when your Lee Sin starts splitting, that does become like a little sign, but they need to just recall and just deal with the Lee Sin.
It's pretty much what they're about to do, trying to stop him from doing anything, almost finding the Corki there, but it doesn't work out. So Lee Sin, at the very least, does stop the push from the side of Ohio Northern. It's not the end of the game just yet, but it just feels like we're waiting slowly but surely for the grave to be full. Because at this point, there's just simply not a lot of answers by Briarcliff. Like, they have to find multiple picks and turn them into objectives. But there's no objective right now, and there's not a lot of opportunities to go for picks either.
Yeah, I don't even see a situation where like there's like a bad team fight from Ohio Northern that puts them in a situation, right? Because you don't have a tank to eat up the hit. So even if their target selection is bad, it doesn't make sense for them to lose. So like even if they like focus everything on the Rakan, right? Rakan's still relatively squishy, so they're gonna get popped immediately. There's no front line. There's nobody to be able to possibly have that. And with Soul as well, your odds are not looking in your favor. It looks like another siege is going to happen. This time though, Lee Sin.
Last inhibitor.
They're going for it. Crater comes in. The Cataclysm there. Lay in a good amount of hurt. Grab a hold of 2 members. Cleanse was used by Spooky Uwu, but hey, Kato is just hitting with rockets, free hitting. It's fireworks in the air, but it's just don't care, cuz finds the kill onto Mike. Julian in a little bit too deep, like a Sum 41 song, but it's going to be fine as the siege continues forward. Camera is caught out of position by aggression. Not going to be able to solidify a kill as they go unstoppable. Retreat from this exchange, and Somehow, a majority of the carries have been dropped. Kai now wanting their clip moment. They get one, make it two, line them up, and Kai will knock them down. Finding a third person doesn't seem to be in their future at the end of the game, but Ohio Northern will find victory all the same.
Maybe a bit less anticlimactic compared to the previous game where we went the full distance to 40 minutes and they were back and forth between both sides. But this time around, Ohio Northern just complete domination. They knew their plan, they knew what they wanted to do, and they played really well around it.
I agree on this. I feel like this is just a very clean showing from Ohio Northern. If I had to look at somebody that I'm looking at as probably the big player inside this game, it is for me Kaido, who had the fantastic Nico plays inside of game number 1 that brought him back from the brink. And then a 7-0-12 performance on Corky to end off the second game. Didn't die a single time and was playing aggressive. They weren't playing safe. I press R from off-screen fog of war. They were like running in melee distance of a minigun, just trying to fire away.
Yeah, they were trying to be the Corky, not only a Corky, but the Corky, just going in and trying to kill people, even with no mana. Like, we need to remember those initial fights where he was trying to be aggressive with like 50 mana left, goes in with the W, has nothing left, but he's still fighting with everything he has, mustache and all, and almost works out. So have to give him props for not only having such a good performance, but also backing it up with him being aggressive and trying to play for the team. So huge props to him. Really great, well played series, and hope that we get more chances to see from him from Ohio Northern consistently.
Let's see what we got here, because we should have an interview with a member from Ohio Northern. So we're going to go ahead and take it over to a short little break, and when we come back, we'll be go ahead and seeing everything on it. But first, TDS, I think you had a word, something that really left an impression on you.
Yeah, and as far as I can see and tell, and obviously last minute because I'm not super well versed into what I've seen, I like the fact that we have so much going over here in MEC Flash and MEC Championship. Like, it's one of those places where we have so much opportunities to see in multiple esports and multiple events and multiple, just everyone getting involved and being able to set their goals and just value their expectations and go forward with it. And it feels like the more community and the more people are able to come together and keep on going for MEC with MEC Clash and MEC Championship, the better it's going to be. So if I'm not wrong, and if I'm not doing this wrong from as far as I can tell, if you are able to type exclamation top 5 on the chat, you're going to check out everything related to MEC in every capacity pretty much. It's going to be great articles, great things that are going to come to you and that you can check, and we can keep on going for MEC even more.
Welcome back, everyone. We're ready to get into some more hot topics here. My name is Travis. I'm joined with TDS, and I got Kaido, who I named my MVP. I was like, that. This is my most valuable player inside of that series. How are you feeling?
Feeling good. It's a good first game of the season, so it's only up from here.
Let me ask real
Good
quick.
mentality.
Start things off. You guys went from a over 40-minute game to what was a 10K lead at 20 minutes.
Right.
How does that happen? Was there a shift in mentality, or what happened?
I think we were just asleep. I don't know. It was a rough first game. I think it kind of affected all of us. Like it just we knew we were losing bad at one point, and it all just kind of when it goes silent a little bit, everyone's kind of mental boomed. I think it made us all just focus more for the next game.
That why aggression came in, just to yell at you all.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So he pretty much fits in the name, not only in game but out of game, just trying to keep everyone in check with the aggression and try and just make everyone play really well. But I want to go back to the first game a bit, because obviously there were moments where it kind of felt like you guys had the right idea, but it didn't perform really well. But I kind of want to know when it connected for you guys in the game, right? Because there were great plays by the team, especially your Pop Blossoms. There was a moment where it connected, and I kind of want to know how it blended together or happened.
Right. I think it was just so we only been practicing for a week with the new jungler. So I think it was just there was a lot of communication problems. There was a lot of people talking. No one really knew what was going on. It kind of just slowed down. It was more I'm okay, I'm gonna flank. Look for me. When I go in, you go in. It was just we had to simplify it, and I feel that made it way easier.
There was a time when you were playing Nika where I got to see you. I was just like, yo, wait, he was a minion the entire time. Whoa! it was crazy, and I love to see it. I have to ask, right? We've talked at great length in the past in 2023 about your brotherly dynamic that you got going on with Kai. There was a moment inside of game number 2 where you saved Kai's rear. He was under, he had to be single digit. What were Cogs like there? Was he does he owe you anything now after saving him in that moment? Because you kind of flew in off screen.
I mean, all it was he's I need help. That was it. Not even any urgency, and it was guys, I need help.
He was at 2 HP.
We all just look at him, and he's just getting messed up. But it happens.
You know what? But for an AD carry, the fact that he just quickly tells you that he just needs help, that's it. That's way better than any other thing an AD carry can do to help there.
Exactly.
So it works out perfectly for me. And I kind of want to talk about, because this is the first victory. Obviously, it's still early in the season, but it's the first victory, right? So I kind of want to know how much do you guys want to ride this sort of thing, because obviously you haven't practiced much. It's the first victory, and there's still quite a lot of time to try and get together. So I'm kind of curious if this is the first step towards your expectations, and what kind of expectations do you think the team can kind of go for?
I mean, just cleaner games, really. Just figuring out objectives, really. That's kind of what we've been working on in practice, but as you've seen today, we're not perfect. So mainly the working toward objectives. I think that's what you're going to see the best improvement on.
You guys were one of the most hyped teams going into MEC playoffs in 2023, and unfortunately, we didn't get to see a showcase of what Ohio Northern was going to look like in that. So, let me get an idea. What is kind of what your guys' goals in it? Is it to show everybody why you guys were so hyped up going into playoffs as you go through the regular season? Especially because 4/5 of your roster is the same players, right? So it's everybody's kind of coming back around for their second run around.
I mean, our goal is to win, right? We got some seniors on the team. Just the last season kind of thing. We've all put so much time into it, and we're okay, this is the last season we can do it. So everyone's been here way more than usual, putting in the hours. So I'm excited.
Yeah, I love to hear that. Well, do you have anybody you would like to give a shout out to your very first victory inside of the 2024 season? As you guys had your week to get prepped and get everything ready, cool, calm, and collected by the end.
Hi, Mom and Dad.
All right, I appreciate it. Do they have a name, a handle yet? Have they had how there's the mama APA and the daddy APA?
Oh, yeah.
'Cause you got there's 2 of you. You have a brother. So do they take one?
You'll just next time Kai has an interview, ask him. We'll work on the names. All right.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
we'll think
Next
of
time.
something. Yeah.
Okay, we'll see. We'll see. All right, next time we get an interview, we'll find out on that. Thank you so much, and
Of course.
hey, have a good one. We'll see you
Thank you.
next time we see you play. I believe should be soon.
It is, yeah.
All right. Well, always love to be able to see Kaido. Kaido's great. I love
Yep.
talking to the Ohio Northern players. They are actually so good, and
Yeah, they're
they're so
enjoyable.
full of energy. And it's also not fair. Because they've got like really nice hair and all this other stuff, and there's like the Chads of the league. I feel like I could see them
Also,
like
they're the
doing the
Chad
Chad
name of
strut.
MEC. Okay.
Yeah. They're the Chads of the MEC. That's my new name for them. I've given Ohio Northern a lot of nicknames that they have to explain.
Yeah, as far as they are happy with them, I take it, right? Like if they are good with them, we work with that.
Hey, there we go. We work with it. But we still have ourselves another matchup to finish off our night with. We have Ottawa University taking on their second matchup of the week, going against Purdue Northwest, who are having their very first one. This is going to be a fun one. Ottawa University, we heard from Killian yesterday. This is a matchup that he's looking forward to. You better be as well. We'll take that break, and we'll be right back.
We're here live at the MEC Fall Championship. It's Kendo Slice alongside Briarcliffs University. Hariri!
What's
Hariri! The question of the day has been, what does esports mean to you?
Honestly, esports to me really means like building a small community together, a family that you can have, or brothers even if you want, sisters. Going from there, it's just like an improvement on yourself. Because esports isn't just about the video game, but it's also about like teamwork, communication, how you properly can build a team, and you can really go out there as well as just saying like your mental health as well. You can improve on it, or even your physical health, and that's what I've been going through for the past couple months. So it's pretty nice.
That is awesome. So it sounds like you've already related this to what I want to ask next.
Yeah.
Things that you've learned over the last 3 months, this fall semester. Is there's one thing in particular you feel like you've really advanced in?
In my opinion, it's excuses are excuses in a sense, because if you really want to do something, then you will do it.
Yeah.
Because last year I came up with all these dumb excuses like, oh, I don't have time for this, oh, I don't want to do this, or because of this. It was just a bunch of excuses. Now I've gotten to the point where it's like, I would need to do this, so I'm going to do this, rather than just making up an excuse. So
Wise Alien once said, do or do not, there is no try. And
Yep.
it goes hand in hand. I think that's the energy that Master Yoda, as it were, was going for. LAN environment. It's a little bit different here. Do you appreciate the LANs? What's your feel of LAN?
It's nice to
PNW.
compete against others,
Yeah.
honestly, but it's very uncomfortable. I really like my environment back at the dorms or at my arena way more than I do at the LANs. The chairs are not the greatest. The height difference is weird.
Okay.
The one thing I have in particular is the fact that the monitors are on a stand rather than a mount. And it's very frustrating to try to make sure that the monitor's on right, or like the distance is right without it messing with your mouse pad, because that's what it really gets in the way of.
So creature comforts, and on top of that, you have to further yourself. It really stress yourself to get through the moment there.
Yeah, I'm like 90% sure for next LAN event, I'm going to be bringing a monitor on my back, so
Hey,
with the mount.
you know what? That's one way to beat the challenge.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
Favorite esports moment? Did you have a clippable offense during the fall 23 semester?
Favorite esports moment, in my opinion, is when the teammates blow up at each other.
Oh.
Even ours. Like, we all blow up at each other every now and then, or we all get pissed off. In my opinion, those are the best moments, only because that really shows how good of a team we are to, like,
I love it.
like struggle through it.
So you're mainly focusing on, hey, there are these moments where
Like, what breaks our mental, and how do we reshape it?
Yeah, where
So-
you know that you've broken their mental. You get
Yeah.
to hear that on LAN as well.
Yeah.
You know that you're in their head when you look across the stage. I love that.
Welcome back, everyone. Told you it was going to be a short break. We're ready for some more MEC. I wish I could do the EA Sports is in the game voice, but I don't have that here at TDS. We're ready to get into a fun night, though, because we got Ottawa University taking on Purdue Northwest, and this is sure to be a very fun matchup, especially because the players themselves are looking forward to it, you know?
Yeah, it's supposed to be a grudge match, and if they treat it like that, we should treat it like that as well, because I'm excited to see how they are going to play. These are players that have quite a bit of not only like baggage here in CLOL, but also even just in normal material, right? Like there's players here that we've seen a couple of times. They are really exciting to see as well.
Well, you say grudge match, but it's also like not really even that much of a grudge match, right? Purdue Northwest went through a rebuild out of the MEC 2023 season and rebuilt their roster from the ground up, taking some of the parts that did work really well for themselves. Toponer is a big one that I immediately, my eyes gravitate towards. I'm like, hey, you love Toponer. But on the other side, they also grabbed Prank, who was the GVU top laner who was just consistently dumpstering top lane over and over and over again. And what's funny, we're now at the point where we got Old Man Prank, as he was getting called during his tenure at Ottawa University, is now over here on Purdue Northwest. And Killian, who we had an interview from Ottawa yesterday, actually turned around and said that this is a player that they're looking forward to going against the most. They get to play against him inside of week 1. He's a little worried because he's been playing a lot of like different roles out of season. But going back up into the top lane, there's nobody better to bring the best out of him in the top lane than Prank. And then you can see the update is saying Purdue Northwest is also the one team that hasn't played a game yet. So this is a big moment for them. If they can go ahead and put one of the records over to 1-1, it'll be big for the Purdue Northwest to start their stuff off on a dub.
Yeah, can we have one of these teams stay true to their unbeaten status? Because technically neither team has lost yet. Even if it's 0-0, neither has lost. So I think both of them want to try and play through that. But also on the other side, Ottawa wants to try and stay true or stay in the path of just staying unbeaten, right? Like that, they already have the first victory. They want to keep riding that, especially against the strong teams.
Well, one of the things that I think is interesting is when we talked to them yesterday, they said that they haven't really had a chance to scrim or anything of that sort. So they had one of their players, Plutz, had just recently arrived as well. So they're still kind of getting used to each other. So it's also interesting to kind of see how they're going to look to build their dynamic, especially since we don't really know how Purdue Northwest has really felt out themselves or have their read on the meta just yet. However, one thing that I do think is very interesting, I am a CLOL fan and I'm a CLOL connoisseur. A lot of people inside of the community get together to make tier lists. Last year in 2023, I used to rage a lot online about, like, why are you guys not putting MEC teams in here? Hello? Like, there was so many times I was just like, you guys are just leaving out these teams, and they're actually pretty good. I think they contest with a lot of the lower half teams. So they actually went through and were doing a ranking, and they actually, like, even them, they were like, this remade roster with Purdue Northwest is a roster that they rate above GVU, who is the returning 2-time champions of the MEC. So I think this Purdue Northwest roster, they got a lot of expectation thrusted upon them.
Yeah, you could say it's the expectation that everyone kind of is putting on them. And I think it's a fair expectation, right? Like, these are players that people know about. Even in this scene, even if they haven't played together as a team maybe before or beforehand, there is still a team that should have expectations because of the names that they are carrying with themselves. That being said, even if the names are strong, it doesn't mean that team is going to be strong, right? Like, we've seen teams with great players fail out in other occasions. So it's important to see how Purdue Northwest manage these names, how they can form together as a team, and if they can deliver on the advertisement that it's made about them, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's been mostly the community looking back and just being like, yeah, no, you guys are good. Yeah, that's just how it happens sometimes. And you know what? That's what we do. But I'm also very excited just for Ottawa Braves to show us what they got here inside of this one, because this is one of the funnest teams to be able to watch. They are always ready to scrap. They are the most punchiest team that's out there, right? If you were to refer to any match that they're in as a boxing match, they're the person in like your boxing anime who's like throwing 100 hands in one thrust, right? Like their jabs are just all over the screen. They're constantly pummeling you. Sometimes they exhaust themselves when they do that, and that's where the person like has that moment of and they hit them with like one good uppercut and it's done. Ottawa keeps things interesting because of that flurry, though, because they are ready, willing, and able to throw a flurry of punches at you and kind of defy what the meta is going to be set in stone for them.
Yeah, they're the team willing to just go out in a bang, right? Like either they make it flashy or they die trying, which I respect the attempt at doing that, right? Like not a lot of teams are willing to die on that hill, and I find it fun to see teams like that. Be it in MEC, be it in CLOL, be it in just normal tier. Like any team that goes out like that, at the very least, it's always enjoyable to watch as a caster. That being said, it also means that they are way too volatile for their own good. And volatility means that if they don't, or if they are not on the right side of the match, or they are not on the right side of the PC, to put it like that, it may not work out that greatly on the day, as the bans went through really quickly, and Lucian going to be that first pick for Levi, which I like to see aggressive bot laners for Levi.
Yeah, it's good to see. It's also interesting because I feel like Lucian was banned perma against Levi yesterday. So it's another example. We're going to another series where a champion was banned perma. But here comes the Udyr. Immediate lock-in. And we've seen this thing be a terror in the top lane.
And then it's kind of fun seeing the diversity or the different approach in terms of the priority picks between the previous series and this one, right? It was a lot of quirky, the karma also being taken into consideration, the Nico as well being covered quite a lot. But this time around, it's going to be the Lucian instead that we didn't see kind of at all in the previous game. The Ashe, we did see it, but this could be support Ashe, actual support Ashe. And then the Milio to follow up on the Lucian, really aggressive bot lane duo, really good champion duo that you can play around with, and an R that, with the range, maybe can play around against the Udyr, but the Udyr is a really strong beast in the top lane.
Yeah, but remember, Killian is, as I dubbed them, the mayor of Bandle City. They know how to play all the Yordle champions. That's just what they do. Their dynamic is just to go into the top side, they pick a Yordle, and it's just like, what do you do against Killian up in the top side? Whenever they're playing a character that is under the stature of 4 foot tall, you better watch out.
Yeah, with the Xin Zhao getting picked here, a lot more. I feel like this is a game where we're seeing even more meta, like attention, right? Like we're sticking even more to the current meta right now. It feels like the Xin Zhao really strong, doubtful, going to look for those early aggressive plays in the early game, trying to attack as much as possible. I would say the top lane, just because you do want to put the Udyr ahead, but the bot lane, where these two squishies are leaving, the Lucian and the Milio, maybe the place where we see the Xin Zhao just proactively looking for.
And if you're able to have that level of proactivity, there's a lot of kink assist actually with this team. I just realized with the Udyr and the Ashe already too, right? The Xin Zhao has a lot of avenues to be able to go into. I'm expecting to see a little bit of diversity. In fact, of getting Kletso, their pool shrunk down a little bit. We actually saw the Vi taken away from Prod. Prod had a fantastic Vi game yesterday. So they are saying, no, we are not dealing with that. And you can see Blonde trying to narrow down that pool. A Senna insta-lock actually coming in.
So this is playing off of the range. Having the range advantage against the Lucian Milio is how they are opting into it. As we see the Valdez, so they want to have a carry in the jungle. And I was thinking, with so many mid lane champions banned away, what are they going to dive into? The Twisted Fate left open. Could be attack speed, could be mid AP version, but with how the game is going, I feel like AP would probably be better. The Galio though, it's nice to have with the Valdez. It's actually going to be the area. So yeah, they have to dig into the mid lane pool because there's a lot of mid lane champions banned away. Could be the Orianna here though for Klexo, having a safer option in the mid lane, or a poke one and play it off of the range really easily.
I would like to see something that's just stable at this moment in time. You've got a lot of moving pieces here. If you go for something that's like a melee or anything like that, I'm expecting something to go in. But it is the Sylas actually. We haven't had a Sylas game just yet, and when you look at it, you know, Gnar is one of those champions. You see Gnar in the game and you say, ho, 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 I can take that. That's yoink. I can use that better than you can.
Yep. You have good ultimates, actually. Like, good ultimates to get onto the backline. You have the Gnar, like you were mentioning, to just try and push people into walls. Or you just take the area ultimate and you have 4 ways to dash on top of the Lucian and kill him. So there's multiple avenues to make this Sylas be a proactively aggressive champion. You have dive partners in the form of the Xinjiao and the Udyr. The only problem here that I would kind of see is that there may be a bit too much distance between the Ashe, the Senna, and the other 3 champions. Like,
Yeah.
they want to play far from each other because the Senna and the Ashe are way too easy to kill if they go too far forward. So there may be a bit of a divide, but if they can play off of the range from the Senna and the Ashe really well and try and just whittle down onto the Ottawa Braves as much as possible, then the Xinjiao, the Silas, and the Udyr can just kill everyone else.
Yeah, that was kind of my worry too, right? You saw the first pick Lucian, and you automatically like, all right, they don't actually have a lot of range for themselves.
Yep.
But the dashes, the mobility that they have, they can easily close distances. With this melee range composition, it's almost like you're doing a Venn diagram on like what the danger zone is and what the safe area is. Because you find yourself in this like weird area where if you're in a bad position, especially if this is like one of those solutions that's running like PTA and whatnot, they're just going to be feverishly, it's like tapping shots into you. You're not going to be able to really do much. The Silas might get blown up before they get access into the back line. The Jinzhao doesn't get ahead, they might get blown up. The Udyr got to run at you unless they're going to flash boar slap you. Like there's not many things that you're able to do to change things around. So we'll have to see inside of this game. Game number 1 here on the Ottawa Braves taking on Purdue Northwest here inside of week 1. This is our final game of the day. We're starting it off with this game number 1 of this best of 3.
Yeah, really hype matchup, really good 2 teams to just watch out for, and maybe a potential first look at a finals later on, right? Like these are the expectations for teams like this. So gonna be exciting one.
I like how you're like already, it's week 1, you're like, hey, this could be the finals.
Hey, I need to set up the
It could
expectations
be,
from one
finals,
point.
man. I mean, yeah.
Also, I can make
honestly-
the call because I'm not sure if I'm coming back, so I'm leaving the problem to you guys.
It's like, I don't have to deal with the consequence of my actions. Peace.
Exactly.
Yes. I appreciate you. Thank you.
See, I know my position here. Like, I'm just having the time of my life for today's cast.
You know what? I'm glad I'm having the time of the life with you as well, TDS. It's a good time here. Inside this first game, inside this best of series, it should be a very fun one. It is like a little bit of a preview, like you were talking about. I don't know, a preview of the finals, right? Because it's still, we have to see how all the other teams
True.
kind of make up. But last time when they went against Briar Cliff, they did not have a great start against them, and I love this start. Prod, this does not belong to you. You want these chickens that
He
bad?
didn't get it. Oh, winking.
He's first blood.
Yeah, that's
He
first
gets
blood.
it. First blood. I was not prepared for that to happen. Pride, a little, just obsessed with the chickens, I guess.
Yeah, like I understand desiring to get your jungle camp, but that was way too much desire in my opinion. And that now is a really weird situation because yeah, winking doesn't have flash and ghost. So maybe for bot lane, they can try and play much more aggressively thanks to this. But at the same time, you lost out your jungle camp to the Xinjiao. You lose out on your flash. So the Bel'Veth cannot, and I cannot express this enough, she cannot fight against the Xinjiao for the next 10 minutes. Because she's dying every time against him.
But thankfully, she went to the other side of the map.
Yeah.
As a result, she was just like, all
At
right,
least.
memo caught. I know there's vision down there. You're going to start tracking me. It's how the game goes. You got to shrug that off now.
Yeah.
Make sure that you're able to chill it out. The one big thing that they're probably hating on right now is the fact that they did go over to Wind King. Wind King was able to get that first one, but they did have to blow both sums to be able to get that kill. So your Ashe, who is very immobile as their major weakness, might need a little bit of help. So keep an eye on Doubtful to make sure that there's no misfires.
As long as they are able to not give anything to Levi down there, right, for the duration of the flash, even the ghost being down, then the kill is going to be completely valuable there. Winking, yes, it's probably not the best to get the first blood if he blows everything. Oh, hoo, hoo.
That's a lot of damage that immediately
Yep.
came out to Boner, almost getting punished out. That Knight on Levi, if he had it popped onto him, would have burned down the Poner. Lucian coming in, laying in the hurt. He's aggressive with the summoner choice.
Shin is on bot side. They may be looking to try and mess up onto the Bel'Veth, but bot lane is reacting first for Ottawa.
Yeah,
Oh, he gets it.
They were able to secure away Krugs. It's a bit unfortunate because of the collapse that's not going to happen here. Is this going to be a dive scenario? I don't know if you really want this. Look at Levi. Levi's going for the kill. They find their moment. Ignite. Finishing off the Poner. The bonfire is not enough. Prod taking too much damage. And it is a tragedy written in the bot lane. A double kill for Win King.
It was so close to be a disaster for Purdue, and then it turned into a disaster for Ottawa. Because with the dash in, oh wait, Prank?
Oh, Prank and a rough situation. This will be great. Killian, he said he was out of practice. He said that he hasn't played top lane in so long. He said, Frank probably going to do some things. He's probably going to mess me up in the top lane when I see him tomorrow because I haven't really played this role. Brother, you just solo killed him.
Maybe it was all in preparation so that when he solo killed him, he can just say, yeah, I haven't played that much and I'm still solo killing this guy.
That is
see you, Killian.
Beautiful to see. Killian, that's got to be a nice little boost to the ego for this game. And now he's going to have to just continue farming up. Good stuff on his part, especially since Prankcaster's been shoving in wave after wave. The Poner just constantly roaming around on the Senna, getting immediately punished with the charm.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's worth the damage you get back onto the other team when you're taking more than half your health, but I respect the Poner to still be as aggressive as he is. Like, he has something all doubtful.
Oh. So remember what you were talking about, that whole scenario, right? Prod not being able to do that, but wait a second, the cavalry's here. Yo, Doubtful, it is a whole team you're fighting against. Oh, Braves, they never ride alone. As that is going to be the support needed. Winking, getting jumped upon. Levi, can you finish off the kill? No, the rage is at his dismay. 4 kills for Win King. Killian now going up into the top side, looking to possibly solo kill out Prank yet again, but now into the mid lane. Kletso trying to throw some hands, get a little bit of vengeance, but the charm going wide means Blonde isn't going to do anything but auto him down a little.
Yeah, the skill shots are not connecting, but it's still really good for the side of Ottawa. Even though they lose out on Levi down there in the bot lane, I feel like the big win here is the fact that finally Doubtful is not just destroying Prod. It was looking like that on the side, but you needed to find some avenue for Prod to finally be able to play the game. And that response by Blonde and Flux was perfectly on point, on time.
That was beautiful charm to be able to connect. Opponent taking a huge burst of damage as well into the pod side. Killian trying to trade out constantly. This is already an exciting matchup that is living up to the hype that was ordained. And you can see the Poner like, Gromp, get over here. I need a little bit of healing. Come on, I just need a little bit. Prod's down here, bot side.
Yeah, he's
wants the dive, wants the smoke. Win King jumping over, gets another kill. It's a 5-kill streak for themselves. A shutdown, though, going over to the Belvev. I don't know if that's undone the troublesome early game that Belvev's had to go through, but it definitely is a start.
Travi, look at the items from the Ashe and on the Lucian. So yeah, you get the shutdown, but like it's a Kraken Slayer to a Sparky thing that I forgot the name.
the shark, yeah. I do want to real quick ask if we can see the gold real quick because I feel like I want to just see how close the Belvev and Zinzao is if it was a recovery. The Belvev's now ahead.
It's ahead,
Zinzao in gold because of that shutdown. That was if I remember right, that was like a 600 gold shutdown on the Ashe. So
Lucian is 1,000 gold behind.
Levi's not having it. Levi's like, yo, I would have loved that gold, but
you know what's kind of the worst part? The fact that I can still see Lucian solo killing the Ashe.
You can see that in which realm of possibilities? How many realities have you lived into?
Like, I can just see a 1v1 where the Lucian just plays from, like, level 6. You throw the ultimate out, Ashe fails ulti, and then he just combos you with the Ignite.
Yeah, I can see a world for that. You know, Lucian's more the duelist than Ashe is. Ashe brings a lot of supportive ability, right? They can carry, but their window for carrying is like a different way. And as a duelist, Lucian's probably the best AD carry at dueling 1v1, right? That's why we see him in solo lanes. Vayne's up there too, yes. He's still chicken
overall,
again.
like,
Did Doubtful take that again?
I think he did, actually. Yeah, because he hit level 6.
No, Doubtful took that again. All right, Doubtful. I see what this is. if you have something against Prod, you can settle it off the rift, all right? At this rate.
It's so weird the amount of like desire to kill someone or to steal from someone like Doubtful is right now with Prod. He now hits level 6. They know where he is, but at the very least, finally Prod hits level 6 and he's not that far behind from the Shin.
I mean, he's not behind at all technically in terms of like gold. Right, the gold is after getting that equalizer, that paycheck from killing the Ashe, feeling pretty good. Kletso, actually, the charm missing is a huge tall tale sign for Kletso to go in. Good yoink of the Spirit Rush as well. Blonde has to use a Spirit Rush of their own. And missing one skill shot and turning it into an opportunity. Good stuff from Kletso.
The skill shot diff always going to matter so much in these sort of matchups. Like, one charm missing, it's the equivalent of you getting the opportunity to go for a kill. Oh, Frank. He wants his solo kill.
Frank wanted to go for it. He has Ghost, so could possibly. He is still available, but it's very hard to actually solo kill Mininar because he just kind of kites you out like this and he runs away. You do a lot of damage, like it's an equal trade, but it's hard to actually close the distance, especially since he rushed Swifty Boots. So, like, the
so
Nard
just
is
in case
faster.
Nobody show the build from Frank to LS because he would be mad about it. He's building armor instead of going AP.
Oh, is that what this is?
Yeah, and almost setting up for a potential gank there as well.
I mean, yeah. Yet again, Toponer. When I play Senna, I have a hard time actually like moving around the map like this. I like go to Dragon and I'm like, my job is done. I've rotated enough. But Toponer is all over the map at the current moment in time.
So I feel like that is not bad if he's collecting souls. Do we know how many souls he has right now? Because soul count is important.
Well,
No,
we might have to wait on that. Frank is in a gank scenario of their own. The rest of the team was nearby in the vicinity. Plutz taking a good amount of damage. Are going to lay in the hurt. Levi gets a solo kill onto the Ashe over into the bottom side of the map while this is all happening. Yeah, we didn't even see it happen. But you know what happened? You know what happened? Did you see it, TDS? The Ashe arrow went the wrong way.
Yep.
Blonde now getting soloed out. Gets caught out by Kletso. Good use of the blast cone. Will dissuade him. Milio's right there to make sure that the healing is there. A nice soothing bonfire to soothe the wounds.
And at the end, even though he was setting up for a potential play, wait, Klexo.
Yeah, Kletso is not done just yet. Is immediately going back over the Spirit Rush. Blonde getting in melee. Teleport coming in around the bend. It is Killian. Full of rage, anger, angst, and gnarring out.
Double Mega Gnar.
Laying in the hurt onto Kletso, but Toponer is completely free. A beautiful flash keeps him out of range. 1 for 1 at the moment, but here comes the Phoenix. Prank coming in trying to show him what's up, but old man Prank cannot catch up to the rest of the fight. It will remain that 1 for 1 solo laner for solo laner.
Oh, they know Prod is here. It looks like.
Yeah, he gets his wolf. Run. He gets his wolf, but he has to pay his life as a price. A soul claimed by the hands of Toponer, and now Blonde's over here, lays out another charm, gets a little bit of hurt back onto him. This is an exchange. They are in the scrapyard. They are just looking to duke it out with each other. I told you, TDS. These are two teams. They're looking to just throw hands.
Yeah, but we were expecting Ottawa to be like that. We weren't expecting Purdue to get down to their level and not be scared to throw the punches. Also, just quickly, we talked about Levi being able to soul kill the Ashe. It actually happened. And now because of the soul kill, Levi is really, really strong.
Yeah, all of a sudden, the gap has closed. The gap is closing, as they would say. The CS differential has grown exponentially in their favor as well. And it is a little bit of a troublesome tale. And you got to wonder if right now Winking is just like, all right, Toponer, listen, I need you to come back.
I need you here.
I need you here. This is a little bit of a problem. Check this out. Toponer comes back to lane and immediately gets bopped.
I'm understanding why the Poner wasn't there. He just left the lane because he's tired of getting hit by the Lucian. Oof.
There we go. Colin comes in and Winking goes out. Not appreciating the amount of damage that just took. Both junglers are here in the vicinity, but the HP bars are in the favor of Ottawa Braves. Kletso yet again comes in, sneaky, goes around the corner, lays in the hurt, Doubtful off onto the other side, and Chance of Crystal Arrow only hits onto one member Prod out of the fight. Plutz, though, is going to be able to use that ult to make sure that they're A-OK. Shutdown going over to Prod, and they are reaping the benefit of these fights.
They are finding really good angles, and I like how with the aggressiveness that they are playing around with, the fact that Toner and Winking, even though they got an early advantage, they are not really the aggressive super early fighters that you're looking for. Compared to someone like the Lucian and the Velvet, now that she has an item, she can actually contest against the Xin Zhao. So once again, if they separate from each other, it's just beneficial for the set of Ottawa Braves so much.
Purdue Northwest, I feel like they're in this interesting thing though, where they do have like a very cut strategy that they have done. We've seen them actually just like tracking down Prod pretty hard and trying to punish this new player from the team over and over and over again. I wonder if they're gonna try and sort of like turn away from that strategy a little bit, just because Prod has been getting some of these late kills. You do get Dragon down here into the bot side, but he's been getting money actually off of these bounties that have been occurring because of it. And I'm pretty sure Prod is just completely even in gold.
It's just working out so well for the Velvet. And then when looking at potentially the game going even further ahead or going further than 30 minutes, the Velvet is going to be ahead of the Xin Zhao in that sense. Like, Xin Zhao is great, don't get me wrong, for early skirmishes and mid-game fighting, but when it comes to late game, Velvet is just going to become a monster in and of herself. And with the right team support, it just becomes really difficult to fight against her. She also has a Milio around her, which, even if the idea is initially to provide for the Lucian, Velvet also benefits quite a lot from having a support like the Milio. So it's just compiling everything into the later stages and having a jungler that can carry the game later on if she's in the right spot at this point in the game, which she's ahead of the Xin Zhao even.
Yeah, just because the two bounties, they've claimed two of those 3 kills are bounty kills. But mid tower is in danger of going down as a result. Good catch, Winking. Oh, doesn't get bursted down. Blonde's not able to finish off the kill, but here comes Levi looking for the calling. Not going to be able to call away the HP bar of Winking. And Winking, you can throw out your volley as much as you want. You need to go ahead and get back to the fountain, buddy, as you need some HP.
Wait, can we look at Little Beth? What was she doing? She took the Herald and then just kind of went away. Yeah, look at the Herald.
There it is. Herald has come on down, and here we go. The ultimate over into the wall. Toponer gets drop Hex Tech Portal. Winking, I don't know if you want to be there, but they got the flank. They're going to go ahead and go for the angle, though. Herald coming in, letting the charge go in to be another teammate, the Phantom member of the squad. Herald will drop, but Purdue Northwest, they are finding their targets. It's a delayed fight, but check out Prawn. They are going nuclear inside of the fight, but eventually they will be slain. A double kill for Winking. The Ottawa Braves, they also took a couple blows of their own.
It is such a weird fight and such a weird sequence of events, because once again, they had a Herald, but the Herald never actually hit any turret. It was just kind of used to move around the map a little bit, maybe interrupt something, but it really didn't find any value that you typically see from a Rip Herald. And then the fight, even though the idea was right, it just simply wasn't well played, it feels like, from Ottawa Braves.
I'm still trying to process the Herald play, honestly. I have not seen somebody use the Herald like that, ever, in an entire lifetime.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Well, it's not typical that you see the Herald just go away from an actual turret.
Yeah, no, that broke my brain for a moment. I'm not gonna lie to you. Caster brain took over, and I was just like, that doesn't exist. That my eyes have a bug right now.
That shouldn't work like that.
Yeah.
Am I missing something? Maybe it's all part of the plan for the future, to make it so that they don't expect the play from the Herald the next time, and then when you actually use it accordingly, they are going to be like the Pikachu meme.
They're gonna be just shocked. I get you. Alright, I like it.
But we were talking about it, right? Like, mess with their heads.
Psychological warfare, yeah, TDS, you get it. Gotta get in there. You gotta get in there. I don't know about the mental of either of the teams, just because I know like Ottawa Braves are, like I said, last year they were like the Gremlin team, and I mean that in an endearing way. Just a little bit chaos incarnate, don't beat them after midnight kind of the ordeal. But they just
is midnight like 30 minutes or?
Midnight is in like 2.5 hours from now on my time zone. So
No, I
we're
meant I
good.
meant more so in the game. Like it's meant
Oh, you mean in
midnight's
the
supposed to be
game.
30 minutes in game.
Oh,
Yeah.
you were taking my reference and making it into a real one. You're a good caster.
I'm just here to help you out. You're the smart guy here.
No, you. But I think that I don't know if there's anybody you can do the emotional warfare against. I think they're all down to clown. Taponer, maybe not as much ready to clown here as he gets slapped up by the tentacles of Belveth.
In the meanwhile, Klexa is just pushing on the side. Like it felt like it was a silent game at some point, but then out of nowhere, Klexa is pushing side lane, and then they kill the Senna. Boner just dies randomly on the side, and a dragon is spawning in 10 seconds, by the way, as well.
It's a weird game, TDS.
Yeah, we have more kills than minutes played.
Yeah, we do, and I'm happy for it. We're going to see Dragon be started up. This is going to be a great recovery for them if they're able to get this. So we'll make sure the steal thieves away, but it's stolen. Doubtful is the worst enemy to Broad in existence, and the team fight to ensue might just be an indicator for the rest of the game. A huge
perfect mega.
Stolen away by Kletso seals the deal. 4 members from Ottawa Braves completely wiped off the map, and you can already see the pings. It's 20 minutes, and guess what just slithered onto the map?
They were playing for this moment, not only to steal the dragon in the face of Prod and just make Belbeth hate her existence, but also to get the Baron buff, the big purple worm spawning onto the Rift. And Doubtful not only wants to kill a purple lady, but also wants to kill the purple worm, which I don't know about the lore, so I don't know how related they are, but he's going to kill the boy.
Well, now Purdue Northwest, I guess they're the Void Slayers now, as my co-caster has given them the title for such. As I feel like this is one of those things where it feels like a blow to Ottawa Braves, right? Not only do you have Dragon stolen from you and it puts Purdue Northwest at soul point, but that full wipe, getting hit with your own ultimate ability, it just incapacitates your entire team. Just like every single thing that could go wrong after you just got done making an amazing recovery, right? Like this Belveth is looking like a real threat inside of the game. You got the Lucian who's been popping off recently, and you have this Ari that's been great at starting off these picks. And then all of a sudden Purdue Northwest hits you with a mental bomb of just like, oh yeah, sure, you can have that. Well, we'll just take you out at any point in time.
Yeah, the fight that they really want to have, and it's just working out so perfectly well for them. And now with the Baron buff and Soul Point as well, it's just playing a game that Purdue has everything to win and close to nothing to lose. Maybe the top lane turret that is getting pushed by the Gnar, but they are getting bot lane turrets, they are pushing in the mid lane, and then if they get the Soul, a Hextech Soul for a Xin Zhao, an Ashe, and a Senna is so bothersome to deal with.
I'm looking at how everything's going, right? You got this doom scenario. Nara's trying to push top just to try and get anything for the team. But there's 4 members mid that you have to deal with somehow. Ari is trying to stop the silence from being able to push in this inner tower, which I just don't think is happening. You're gonna find your HP bar gone as Kletso takes the belt and just whips him with it. Doubtful retreats back with the safety of the Hextech portal. Hey, Killian, you got top tower. Cool story there, bro. But it is not going to matter in the major indents of things, as right now your team is bleeding out. Prod looking for a kill to try and finish off things on the Kletso, but he's going to resuscitate himself, get a little bit more damage. Levi is going to get popped as well. That short range coming back to bite him on the rear, and you can see Windking just freely firing away. This is going to be GG. Purdue Northwest. Game number 1 of this best of series in 23 minutes. They're going to close things out in convincing fashion.
It was a really well played game overall for both sides for most of it. Like I feel both teams have really smart ideas. They played out their conditions to a really good degree, but at the end it was Purdue finding even more advantages, particularly on the side of Doubtful. Like, and we were joking about it, but it's a reality, right? Doubtful was just consistently on the face of Prod, trying to make his life miserable. Worked sometimes, didn't work other times. But his purpose was make the jungle matchup as messy as possible so that he could get the advantage. And he did an amazing job at that. Not even caring about what happened on the bot side, just playing it off really, really well.
It's like honestly, Prod was playing a game where there was an antagonist on the other side. That was all about he was JoJo and Doubtful was Dio.
Dio
is what was happening. Dio, aka Doubtful, their entire job was to make life suffering for the opposition there, and it was just like, hey, yo, you got a dog? I'm gonna kick it. Everything's going good for JoJo until Dio shows up. I'm just saying, and all of a sudden we're in this situation where Prod, every single time there is no Doubtful, Prod finds success, claims bounties, is feeling good, is elevated into a standpoint above
so
Doubtful,
ahead
of them even in gold, and then Doubtful just comes in here and just like, it was me all along, Doubtful. Like, it's just, I don't know what you do inside a game number 2. You gotta separate them.
Yeah, it's pretty much the statement of, I was here and I hate you, so screw you and I'm taking this. And he did that pretty much all game long. He died a couple of times, but as we know, Dio is immortal, so it didn't matter.
It's such a big thing. But hey, yo, what we're gonna do here is we're gonna go ahead and throw ourselves over to a short break to get ourselves ready. Before we do, while we're on that short break, I do want to go ahead and take a moment to give a shout out to our lovely articles that we have here at Unified. So make sure you go ahead and check those out. Unified's been around inside the scene for so very long. So if you are interested in esports by any means, I highly recommend checking it. Even if it's something where you're not interested in production, Unified has a wealth of experience that they're looking to share with everyone. Hit ! Top 5 in chat and you'll be able to read the article, what it takes, top 5 things empowering the esports events. Make sure you check it out. It's just good to be able to know it. I'm a caster and I think it's a good article to go through and just read. I don't even handle the production side of things. Everybody does the job of making me look good. I just say things and then I get back into the production and they say, why did you say that, Travis? Why'd you do that? Anyways, we're going to go ahead and throw it over to that break I was talking about, and we'll be right back with game number 2 of Ottawa Braves taking on Purdue Northwest.
We're here live at the MEC Fall Championship. It's Kendo Slice alongside Briarcliff University. Freight! Hashtag train. You got me with the timing of that when we were talking before.
That was the intent.
It is freight. Hashtag, is it just straight up freight train or is
Yeah.
it freight?
Yeah.
Okay, so the freight train over here. And the question of the day has been, what does esports mean to you?
I mean, I stopped going to school around like 7th grade, and I pretty
Interesting.
much put all my time into this. So esports is like a job, like it's my lifestyle, it's
Yeah.
everything that I do. Like it means everything to me.
Yeah. So
It's what's gotten me to college. Like, I mean, it's done
I love
everything
it.
for me, and
I love it.
I'm gonna keep with it until I'm done.
So, is there something that you have learned over the last 3 months? Maybe there was an
yeah.
interaction with a coach that you'd like to highlight? Or
I mean,
anything like
mostly
that?
just like learning how to interact with other people.
Mhm.
Like when most of what you've done all your life is play video games, like being in a physical environment with 4 other teammates kind of
Yeah.
just alters things, and
Yes.
you have to learn it a different way, and it's been a major catalyst for growth.
Absolutely. Getting off the rails for a moment, but it's a lot like you think of trying to do things one way
Yeah.
and it doesn't work.
Mhm.
The perspective of other people brought in a team environment goes a long way in helping
Absolutely.
you discover a solution that does work.
And you become a lot less individualistic. Like you
Exactly.
just learn how to factor in everybody else and everything that you do.
I love that. Thank you for joining me on my rabbit
Mhm.
trail there. Of course, going into that hand in hand, LAN experience. It's a little bit different
Oh, yeah.
altogether because face to face.
I mean, it's a lot of it's like uncomfortable, but in like a way that I feel like we should embrace, and that's like how you evolve is by going through
Ah,
the
yeah.
discomfort of a LAN event and coming out better in the competition. And honestly, it's been great. Like I've liked this experience more than any other like online competition I've ever competed in.
So I gotta ask, do you have a favorite esports moment from the fall semester? You you clip on some fools. You know?
I think I had when I played against Cleveland State on Ascent one game, I think I got 2 like aces almost back to back, and that was probably one of my favorite moments. Like I immediately put
Hello, welcome on back to the Midwest Esports Conference. My name's Travesty. I'm joined here with TDS, and TDS, we just got done with a very, very convincing game number 1, right? Purdue Northwest. What a statement game by them.
Yeah, I don't think we can say it was dominating, but certainly it was a game that at the very least sets good expectations for Purdue, right? Like we were setting already expectations pre-game, but that game really shows that they are not only here to fight against a strong team like Ottawa, but try and make it so that they are like favorites coming into the conference. I like that. I like Purdue trying to put the foot down, stomp onto everyone else, and say we are here and we want to win.
It is something that is very, very good to see. I personally, I think they came in with a strategy. They said, yo, Prod, we need to jump onto them. Let's make them feel a little bit weaker. When they saw the Belveth, they were like, this is a champion that is very good to actually do this strategy on. You had said a moment inside of it after that early skirmish, like, hey, yo, you don't play the game for 10 minutes now, Belveth. I'm sorry. It's just out. They found a way to defy the odds with that nice shutdown on the Ashe on the dive. But still, there was just... It really did feel like there was just a force against the side of Prod from allowing them to have any semblance of fun inside the game. As soon as hope was there, it was like dangled in front of them. They're like, no, oh, you're gonna get it, you're gonna no. It was just terrible.
Yeah, it was kind of scary. And I also like the way, by the way, quickly with Purdue, how they kind of just denied the Lucian, right? Like, typically when you see the Lucian in the milieu, you're scared for your bot lane because they're going to get pressured, get killed. And it happened quite a bit, don't get me wrong. Levi was still able to come back and be able to kill the bot lane a couple of times. The problem is that it was never an issue of if the Lucian could kill them, but more so an issue of if he could kill them quickly enough so that the rest of the team couldn't respond on time. And after a certain moment, Sen and Ashe stopped dying. And in comparison, the rest of the team could kill the side of Ottawa Brave. So that's a big difference that I like to see from Purdue.
You know what the secret was for the Senna?
Not dying.
Get away from the bot lane.
Yep.
That Lucian,
worked.
it was on site. It was actually on site from Levi. Like Levi was actually just running every single time center run in the lane. You're like, oh, you're just within punching distance. Let's go. And it was every single.
It was a
time.
punching back center.
It was something that was really big. It was really big. I think if Ottawa's going to come out inside this game and really swing hard onto Purdue, I think they have the options. I think there was a lot of moments they looked good. I said convincing win at the very beginning because 23-minute game, good gold lead. I did feel like Purdue was in control for like 90% of the game, right? Like it did feel a lot of Ottawa like they were trying to like get their head above the water and they just could not.
Yeah, I agree. I think that it's a game where it's, and to try and stay true to the water reference, like it's when like kind of that bullying scene where you have the kid just holding the head of the other kid down into the water and not allowing them to even get out. Like that's the sort of thing I feel like Purdue was doing. Like yes, there were instances when he can like show his head, but then once again it was pushing him down into the water and never letting him actually achieving any way of escaping that. And I like the way that Purdue did that. Like it was just choking them out of life by giving them hope. It was giving them hope, but still choking them out of the life. And that's a really like dominating way of also saying. And even though I said that it wasn't dominating, it's still a way of saying like we had control at every point, pretty much.
And with Ottawa being over on the blue side yet again, I do wonder if the idea, because they stayed on the same sides, I wonder if the idea stays the same, right? First pick the Lucian. Lucian looked good in its situations that we got to see it. Maybe you change up a couple different parts around it. Maybe Purdue say, yo, the Lucian actually kind of hurt. It had hands down bot. I don't really want to deal with it again. I am curious on what the idea is. I do think Levi will probably just fall back to like a Varus or something like that if you take away the Lucian, but we'll see.
Could be a Xin Zhao look though. Maybe Ottawa thinks that Xin Zhao is stronger and they just take it in the first pick.
Maybe. I don't know if that would be a bad thing. Prod didn't have a great time on Xin Zhao earlier on yesterday. They just didn't get to have a good early game yesterday. They didn't get to have a good early game on the Belveth either. But maybe it is something where you're able to take something that can tango alongside with Doubtful. I do think it's less of the champion and more so the early decision making and then the champion that you're dealt with after that. So as we go through these bans, I think these bans probably will just stay the same. I don't see a reason for either side to really to change anything up, in my opinion. So unless you really don't want to get rid of like Letzo's Silas, because the Silas is very annoying if you do want to go for like Gnar as a comfort pick.
And also as a counter pick, right? Like it was picked in the 5th position. So if it's as a counter pick, I can see also Silas ban coming through. But it's more than likely that it comes in the second rotation, not in the first one. First one, it's more so for those champions that you're sure it's going to get first pick. And I think Karma would be the last one here unless Purdue doesn't fear the Karma to come through.
I guess so. Yeah, no. But I think you still just... I think it is something that you leave it as not a risk that you take. Let's compile it just fine. I think Blonde probably could play. It's not a champion that I would imagine him to play. Killian, I know they're like I said, Yordles, and then they're go on to like Scion if they absolutely have to. But I like the Lucian. I think you first pick it. I think you keep that the same.
Yeah, Lucian overall, and you don't have to worry much about maybe a duo getting denied, because if Milio gets taken away, you take the Nami. If Nami's not there, you take the Milio. So it's one of the two. You just opt into either of them. With the Udyr going to be taken here in the first rotation, maybe we see a similar like first 3 champion approach with the Udyr Ashe being picked here, and then you play around that. But I feel like you should secure the Xin Zhao if you're doubtful here, because maybe Prod decides to take it in the first rotation as well.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm looking over at everything in regards to it. Right now, we're kind of in the same boat. Same band, same everything. Okay. I like this adaptation, actually. So this is what I was looking at just now, the Milia on the opposite side. Gives you a lot to pair together, and it's a takeaway. It's the premier partner to put together with the Lucian as well. So I really like the Milio takeaway here.
Yeah, even if the Nami, like we were saying, is still open, like I agree. The Milio is the one that gives you still more opportunities because you can pair it up with multiple AD carries, and he does the work really, really well. And that cleanse, in general, is just always so valuable with the amount of CC that currently exists in the meta. So I like the Milio overall, pretty good pick. as for the side of Ottawa, what do they want to keep on going with? Feels like they just like the matchup here, and if they don't like the Silas, they just fan it away on the second rotation, and that's
I think it's
like,
also just
the
comfort.
NAR worked.
It's just comfort too, right? Killian is very comfortable on R. It's a great pick to actually go into if you're going to play weak side. I think we're looking at a very much so weak side game. But I think if they do lock in Silence, I think that's a smart thing to do. You have a Nami wave and a Gnar ultimate to steal. And this was kind of my adaptation I was thinking they would do. Get rid of one of these other picks. I think Kletza's a great player, sure, but you could drop either the Akali. I think the Akali would probably be my drop just to get rid of, and just get rid of the Silas. Just because if you're going to go back to comfort, the Gnar is telegraphed in this instant.
Yeah, and the Silas works really well against it. And now, even more so now with the Nami, the Tidal Wave also is a great ultimate to steal as the Silas, just because of the huge value. So even more aggregated value on top of it. As we see the second round of rotations, a lot of focus on the AD carry position, but these are AD carries that even if they work well with Emilio, they are not necessarily the premier options that you think about when working with Emilio. Aphelios probably sticks out more, maybe, than the Misfortune. Ashe probably yes, but Aphelios and Varus were probably much better options with Emilio than the Ashe Misfortune. And on the other side, mid laners were taken away, so now we're left with maybe going for the Orianna. Picture could be an option as well. The Vi, though, the Vi Orianna could be a great combo to work with.
Yeah, Vi was banned in the second ban phase last time around. So looking at that, hey, look, you drop that, hey, Prod's going to take it. That's a very good champion for them. They had a great showing on it yesterday. This could be a good champion for them to have some of that early proactivity. We actually saw Blonde pick out the Orianna earlier on. So yesterday they played the Orianna. It's funny, they were actually doing some sombrero ultimates, and they were doing them on purpose. Where they would just like run at you and then just ult while the ball was on you. So I love seeing that when somebody's like, here's the most creative way I can do this. I am the ball delivery service, and just carry it over yourself. So I do like that, and I think against a team that is very close range, bar the Varus, that's something that you're going to have to be inciting, to be very insightful. When's the right moment to go for those plays?
Yeah, and especially because of the fact that it is a Varus that barely has any mobility, having the bike Orianna combo can be really good as well, because you just press R combo, you blow up the Varus immediately, and then the rest of the members have to come into you, where it enables a lot of the value from the Gnar, from the Lucian, to play with their range, but also with them wanting you to come on top of them. So even though Ottawa Braves changed up a bit of the maybe initial idea that they had in the previous game, especially with a carry jungler, this time around, I like the fact that they have more, maybe tools to make the early game go their way. And it's not just, if something goes horribly wrong, we have to wait for something to actually work out in our favor.
That's what I'm talking. I'm wanting to see what exactly is going into play. If you're able to get something going, I'm actually kind of looking at Doubtful, and I'm like, yo, if you run in here and make Prod's life hell again, I swear, Doubtful. Like, Doubtful actually looking like the bully going in here. I just, you gotta watch out for Doubtful inside this game.
Yeah.
But also, remember, Winking started off last game with a big streak. They were playing a character that has more supportive tendencies inside the last one. On a Varus, you can actually just stay far back. Your damage is insane on Varus. Is a crazy character at the current moment in time. I'm very curious to see exactly where it may go.
Yeah, exactly. With the Varus opting into either route, I like the attacks with Varus a lot, but obviously poke has been much more predominant. And with the fact that there is a Lee Sin on the side, also a neuter to a certain degree, you can maybe see the poke Varus being an option here. And also, when you look at the other side, Ottawa doesn't have a lot of armor builders. Like, maybe the Gnar and the Vi opt into a Frozen Heart just because of how effective the item is. But apart from that, like, nobody else wants to build armor. So the squishy champions are going to be really easily to kill with the poke Varus. And then the quote-unquote tankier champions still are going to take a huge chunk of damage from the Varus.
There's a lot of squish. There's a lot in this game here. Ottawa Braves, they would love to be able to grab another win for themselves here. Put themselves up into another 3 series. We had yesterday, we had said it on stream. Game 3 is a comfort zone for Ottawa Braves, but they got to fight for their life to be able to get to game number 3 here. Instead of week number 1, already we are seeing some intense competition. But Purdue Northwest, favorites inside of a lot of onlookers. A lot of the spectators have put this as a team. They rate even higher than GVU, the previous reigning defending champions here inside of the MEC. So this would be nice for Purdue to continue to ride that high. In game number 2, let's see what we got going on here.
I thought just because we were looking at the Nami, you were going to say ride that wave, and maybe make the pun with the tidal wave and all that. But okay.
I could have. I just want you to know it's how much power I have. I make you think of the puns. You know, like that's the effect I have on a broadcast.
See, that's the kind of casting we need. The one that makes us think.
Yeah, the one that makes you think. You know, well, yet again. All right, it's the same exact spot as before. Okay, we're gonna start calling this the Purdue invade at this moment in time because they just go over the chickens, check you, and just immediately grab you off of it. Frank even looking to catch hands with Killian early. Holy,
that's a lot of damage. But at least this time, Prod was on the other side of the map, so he didn't take any sort of like bullying from up there or down there. And it's going to be attacks with barriers, it looks like, with the rune choice.
I think that might be a first inside the MEC so far in the 2024 season. Blonde, not appreciating this matchup, by the way. Kletso, very aggressive onto it. It's a little bit more hurt back onto it, but it does take a little bit of time for Orianna to set going. So this is the decisive moment for Kletso to find those favorable trades.
And that, now with the fact that they may try and be aggressive this early on, and the junglers that they took into account, right? The fact that they are really aggressive early junglers as well, could be an attempt at going into the mid lane. Obviously, there's still flash for both of the mid laners, but health bars... Oh, Kalexo. Yeah, health bars are low enough that you can try and go for a gank here.
Yeah, we have two early gankers too. Lee Sin and Vi are really good, especially at ganking mid lane, because there's an easy wraparound for both of them. Their Qs make them so very good at being able to wrap around and find those unique angles just to close around those short distances. So it is definitely something that better be on your mind, and if it's not, well, I don't think you have long expectations. But as Prod and Doubtful, alright, this is just getting personal now. The flash is coming out. They want to make life hell for Prod, and Prod is going to go down. That is a kill for Kletso. And yet again, Search and Destroy is the theme.
No.
Blonde having their flash blown as well. Doubtful is taking it, calling the shot. Blonde, you're allowed to ping a question mark ping on that one, as Doubtful was feeling themselves a little bit too much.
You know what? I disagree. I think Klexo should be the one question mark pinging there, because just like that, you gave the opposing laner a kill for no reason. I would be pissed if I was the mid laner, by the way, but just like that, it is still first blood. Prod is still getting bullied inside of the jungle, and Klexo playing so aggressive, but really well into this Orianna.
I mean, that's how you have to do. The big thing with Orianna is the ball control, right? Like, you're wherever the ball is, that's where you don't want to be. So if you can actually play really well to where you're like constantly in between the ball and Orianna when she goes for these trades, she can't really hurt you as much as she would like. So big thing for him. Makes it to where he has to play around the space. Makes it very fun to watch. Toponer and Doubtful are right here, and Plutz does not know until now. They are going to get jumped upon, and Doubtful, yet again, another Warthog gets the hurt in there. They knew Prod was there. They're going to jump over the wall. Toponer, do you live? No, the Ignite finally finishes off the kill as Levi needs to run down south a little bit farther. The piercing arrow is going to do a lot of damage to the nets, but it does not do that as Blonde comes in. The cavalry arriving. Ottawa Braves finding the advantage from Purdue Northwest, trying to jump upon them.
Yeah, and the big difference comes from Kalexo not being able to go down there. Not because he couldn't, but more so because he was teleporting in from base. They took that small window of opportunity where Kalexo was coming back from base to just go for the counter invade, the one from where Prod finally gets his revenge from all the bullying, and now at the very least able to answer back. It was a cheeky idea by Purdue, and it almost worked out. But at the end, it's still so much better for Ottawa, and even though they are not ahead in gold, it still salvages a lot of the situations.
Man, Prank is going back to that armor build right away. We said
He
the
wants to
LS needed to
tank.
be on the phone if you wanted to convince him otherwise. But it looks like for the time being, a little bit of quiet has gone into it. It feels a little deceitful whenever there's quiet on the rift between these two teams so far.
I feel like it's pretty much because they had to back, but now that they're back into the map, we're going to see a bit more action, as also Doubtful is now collecting the grubs once again. In the previous game, he had complete control of the grubs. This time around, he's trying to stay true to it once again.
Oh my goodness. Steal the Oriano and make your own sombrero. Blonde, never saw it coming. Got immediately smacked up from it, and Kletsa, no hesitation to immediately jump on the Blonde. Blonde's not able to maintain their HP bar ever.
It's maybe a dive angle with Klexo just pushing the wave, huge wave, and Doubtful being on the side. They have to hold with the buy, if not, Blonde may die.
Yeah, Vi's there. It's going to be a-okay. They even spotted out the Lee Sin. I believe Vi actually saw him when he poked his head around the bush. So that is good as well. They know that they have to back up, but this does give a good bit of pressure on over. Rod needs to go back to the jungle farm on up. The impressive thing for me as well, Purdue Northwest, look at how they've been putting down this vision. Look at the top side of the map, and look at all the offensive wards they have in there. So deep.
Yeah, they are able to keep tabs on where Prod is going to be, and that way, even if Klexo goes a bit aggressive, he's not trying to put himself in a spot where he's going to die. Like, he's just trying to play by the on the edge, but on the edge that it's respectful enough. As Prod gets connected again,
yeah, he's trying to stop
He's
the
able
vault
to run
breaker
away.
from going over the wall, but gets out. It's fine. You lose your blue buff. Probably not fine. Rod's not enjoying the mental beatdown from the jungle just constantly not belonging to them.
Prod is not happy about. Oh, wait,
that's
Klexo.
solo. There
we
it
get it,
is.
yep.
Okay. Flash is over. The sombrero almost saves the day, but in a world of sombreros, Kletso is able to collect a lot better. But there's good stuff coming out, as that is honestly, I think that might be our first solo kill of the series too, right? Well, no, actually there was one last game with the Killian. Yeah, I was like, man, that's actually impressive that it took that long for a solo kill to happen.
Yeah, no, top lane is still delivered as the place where you see the soul kills happen. Even though we haven't seen more from up there, still nice to see now Klexo being one of the main benefactors from that kill. And he's been playing really, really well so far, both in the previous game and in this one. Now has a pro build, so a bit scarier against someone like Oriana that may have the flash, but she's still as low in mobile mage, so she may be a victim later on in the game. As first dragon about to be collected, they have control both in mid lane and bot lane, and should be a pretty good start for them. It's an early ocean dragon.
Get your early ocean here. Blonde does not want to continue getting hit with the chains here. Look at that damage,
came back.
Kletso! Like, Blood just got back in the lane, and that happens. Winking, looking to trade out with Bloods. Levi is in the wings. Does need to be cautious of that, as well as Prod was there, but the reset has came about. Winking taking a calling, but A-OK is able to dodge a majority of the shots and will just be able to resuscitate and farm under the tower.
Blowing the ghost probably sucks, but yeah, you're more comfortable just tanking it and or surviving that calling than having to go away from lane, especially with the push that was coming through. As Klexo maybe getting baited here if he's not careful enough.
I mean, maybe they
really
did just
well there.
yoink the Vi ultimate. Now it's time turnabout fair play, but check it out. They go in for an equalizer play. The Dragon Rage kick. Downfall splittering up, hitting him upside the forehead. Blind gets shell-shocked after that play. Ottawa Braves get outplayed in the 2v2.
And Doubtful didn't want Klexo to be the only one that was having a highlight play there. Pretty good Dragon's Rage into saving Klexo at the end. Double kill for the Lee Sin, and this mid lane jungle duo is just running the show this game. Purdue is dominating from somewhere else on the map, not the bot lane, and it's working out really, really well.
Kletso's good, Doubtful's good. Like, these two as a mid duo, this is actually kind of terrifying.
Yeah.
Like, I would, if I'm playing mid lane into these two, I am questioning some things and where I'm at in life, because it's hard to deal with. They are playing so clean and concise with each other. And I don't know exactly what your best call would be in that scenario. And Blonde played things pretty well with that shockwave to be able to go in there, almost looking like a little bit of an equalizer. But the fact that Kletso surviving on a minuscule amount of HP, it's like the second time it's happened. It's got to start to feel disheartening.
And I feel like one of the scariest parts is that this is a blind Sylas. They knew what they were going into, and Kletso is still just running the show in the mid lane, even though it was counterpicked onto him. Like, it's scary to think about what Kletso is able to achieve with a blind pick, and a blind pick that is typically not considered a blind pick. So really excited for it. Oh, bot lane play.
It's just a tsunami. It's a little mistimed. Vi came around the corner. Blonde's not in position for this, but the retreat has been a little bit slow. This does mean Milio is going to be the target. Nice use of the chains by Wind King. And the teleport coming around on the side. Your worst nemesis is here. Kletso has the shockwave available for themselves, and they're looking to go ahead and do a little bit of a self-ult. Rank comes around onto the flank after the TP. TP called in from the Nard. They're going to go in. Can they get it? Shockwave on the 3 into the back line. It's a 1v3 on both sides, but Kletso is coming out just fine. The bubble connects. Blonde drop down low. Gets the shutdown. Their command to defend, but they will fall victim. Purdue Northwest coming out ahead in every regard.
And that was a fight before, because in the mid lane, there is Doubtful just pushing the mid lane wave. So that means that they are gaining not only the team fight victory here, but also a huge amount of gold elsewhere. This is such a good play by Purdue. They are winning in every front, and they are not stopping at all. They are just trying to bulldoze the living hell out of Ottawa Braves.
I don't know exactly what you can say in regards to it. Purdue is putting on a great show. Ottawa Braves isn't out of things, of course, but 12 minutes in, you're at a 3K differential in terms of gold, almost 4K actually, at this current moment in time. Purdue's getting an incremental lead, and you look at who's going to be your win condition. Levi looking good, right? Yet again, just like game one, Levi doing a pretty good job for themselves. Blonde's found a couple kills off the back of some of these shockwaves, but it's hard when you're somebody who is such short range into this. You're basically putting yourself in range. You're in kicking distance. You're in distance for those chains to connect to you. The Varus is free firing onto you. It's just a rough scenario to be in.
Yeah, it's really, really scary. And with the lead that they have, not only in bot lane, in mid lane, but jungle, top lane as well feels much stronger at this point in the game. And then even though the Lucian completes a first item, Wind King also has a first item as well with, oh wait, Levi?
Yeah, there you go. And that's exactly how you jump into it. Great use there. Chains come in, and that does leave Prod what was looking like a good scenario with the bubble going wide as well. It puts him in a disaster-rific moment. Levi getting kicked and smited. It is a straight up 3 kills, and it looked good. Ottawa Braves, they had an idea there. But immediately Purdue, they take something that looks good and they make it something inconceivable.
Exactly. The problem for Ottawa is that even if it looks good, if it's not executed in a good fashion, it's not going to be great. And that's exactly what ends up happening as, ooh, they need to be careful here.
Oh, I don't know if careful is enough for you at this moment in time. Killian's going to get thrown up against the wall, and he's going to get eviscerated. That's all there is. The time for being careful is gone. You got to take risks. You got to go for anything. You got to throw it all onto the table if you have any hope. Because you're right now, you're Ottawa Braves. You're down. You're all 3 lanes are in losing positions. You are in positions where all 3 lanes are not able to find any form of momentum. You're seeing Ottawa Braves find glimmers of hope and a little snuff, a little candlelight in the dark to be snuffed out by Purdue in the moment that they preordain it.
I'm glad that Ottawa Braves is doing a service to every other team in MEC, showing that Kletso's Sylas should be banned so that they don't have to play in the future.
Here's the thing, right? If Kletso's this good on Sylas, right? Think about the other characters that were banned out inside of it. There was an Akali that was banned out onto the other side of everything.
In first rotation.
So like that's very terrifying to think that somebody's like, oh, your Akali's too clean to actually be able to deal with. Yep. But the other thing is, when it comes down to Kletso as a player, if they're playing like this on the Sylas, if they're playing like this where they are demanding bans on the Akali, what other champions do they have in the back pocket that also terrify you? What other champions do they have that will send a shiver down your spine? Right now, I'm looking at their melee assassins, and I'm like, yo, I don't want to deal with it. I'm glad I am in the casting booth and not on the Rift. That would be a very rough time for myself.
it would probably not be the best of experiences to be having to deal with any of that. But at the same time, and you're on the other side, if you were on a team with Flexo, you're probably really happy because you barely have
Oh,
to
yeah.
do anything and he's carrying your team.
Dude, I'm putting myself down into the support role. I'm like, yo, what do you want me to play? You want me to play Yumi and roam mid level 2? I got you, buddy. I'm up there. I'll support you. Anything you need.
Yeah.
You want to play funnel? Yo, you want to play? You want me to play Terry? Can you play Master Yi? All right, bet. Go ahead. Go crazy. Like I'll revive any bad strategy if I got Klutzo on my team.
Yeah, I think it's not a bad choice. They did something similar in the previous game with the Senna just roaming around and trying to heal everyone, so why not stick close to that? It worked out. Maybe the Melio is something similar as well here, and Klexo is delivering on carrying, so why not try and repeat it as much as possible? But the rest of the team, I like how they are playing around it as well. Like, they are not playing with their heads cut off. Like, they are still applying pressure that Klexo can make use of. I think that's a smart approach as a team and something that makes them really scary. The fact that they are not just depending solely on what Klexo does, but playing off of it.
I'm going in here and looking. I'm trying to see if I can pull it up real quick because the graphic that was shown from people actually like rating Purdue Northwest. This is our first chance of us just looking at everything that's, you know, at this team, this squad.
Yeah.
This is our first time getting to see them in an official MEC game, and they're doing insanely good. And I think this is one of those things where a lot of the people inside the power ranking committee that comes together and always makes these little tier lists and stuff like that. This is what they saw from Purdue when they were making this. And I think this is the scary thing where it's like, even like as I was like preparing for everything and I started looking at rosters, the first thing I heard was like, there was like a rumbling of like everybody being like, dude, Purdue Northwest is so insane, dude. Look at this roster. Look at how insane this is, bro. It's a crazy roster, and we're seeing that showcase of how they all are just so incredible.
Yeah, and it's already a great start for it. Also, funnily enough, the only team that hasn't played just yet, and what a way to play your first month.
Yeah, right.
Like the first match they get, and it's already looking so dominant. Like the first game, even if it wasn't complete domination, it was still really consistent and good all around. This game, though, it's much more dominating, much more just trying to shove the face of Ottawa into the ground and trying to make it clear that they are here to try and win it all.
I'm actually kind of curious, so I'm going to go ahead and take a quick moment to look through the matchups that we have from. So we have this one match from, they actually only have one match next weekend as well, it looks like, which is very interesting from what I'm looking at on the schedule, which they go against Briarcliff next week. So they have like a pretty chill, like 1 week. They actually have a weekend where they have three games. So it's pretty crazy, right? So that you've got a weekend coming up where they have 3 games in a weekend. They have like 3 weeks in a row where they only play 1 week. But they play Briarcliff, Cornell College, and then in their like Grand Slam weekend where they play 3 teams, which is towards the end of February. You got Cleveland State, which we don't really have an idea of their power just yet. They're a new team, right? Grandview, which is going to be a very exciting matchup. And then you've got Drury University, who is a team that's come together to look pretty good as well. And after that, we're going into like championship and stuff like that. So we won't get to see Grandview versus them, which is another team that was highly ranked amongst the committee until much, much later.
Yeah, which gives them time to kind of lay the groundwork already, right? Like give them time to already be set in place for what maybe the expectations should be for both of these teams, right? It's more so the preparation around it is going to be really exciting, and the fact that they are phasing off when they already have more than 1 week to practice and play together, it's going to make that matchup quite exciting if it continues like this, right? Like we may even get to a point where they come in unbeaten, both of them, and that game may decide who has the higher seeding, for example.
It'll be cool. Of course, we got a whole season to see how it actually plays out before we like get too far ahead of ourselves. But it's very exciting, just the prospect of like looking at how other people are kind of rating this team. We're seeing how they're playing. expectations going into the season. Of course, everybody always puts a lot of weight on the previous reigning defending champion, right? Like, that's just me. You had the title, you're bringing it in, you got the crown. So I do think that does become a little bit of a thing that we got going on in regards to how Purdue will look. It's funny that we're only going to get them one game until like the very last weekend, and it's just like, all right, play 3, go. And it's just like, okay, you're hitting your biggest competitor possibly inside of that weekend, right before championship, like right before playoffs start. So I'm in love with it. I love the idea of it, but just to give a quick update to everybody who is watching, looks like it was like a spectator bug. We love it. We love how the client loves to operate at full capacity at all times. We're currently getting the game back up and running, trying to find out exactly where we're going to be able to. Unfortunately, they do not offer Chrono Break to all collegiate games and all that stuff. So we're just trying to figure out exactly what the next step will be for us here.
Yeah, we'll just have to wait a bit before we can come back into what the game was. But with the state of it, it may be something that it's unrecoverable for the side of Ottawa Braves. And looking at the other side of the page, because we were talking a lot about the Purdue University, right? But we need to talk about Ottawa Braves as well and what this may mean for them. Because even if they lose, like, it's not the end of the world. It's first week, first of all, so it's not like that could be like completely devastating or anything like that. But it's also a good like realization point, right? Because if you lose against a team that is technically supposed to be stronger than you, that's where you realize that you need to put a bit more of yourself to try and come back into them. Especially with some of the talk that you were mentioning from yesterday, right? They consider this match like not a grudge match, but a match that they have to pay attention to because of who were on the other side. And if they lost this one, it could be a good starting point for them thinking about going against the other stronger teams, but also potentially playoffs.
Oh man, I feel weird ever saying anything that it's something that's bad to see, but I don't like to talk about playoffs in week 1. It's just because it's just so far away. But I do think we got confirmation that it was a 2-0. Apparently what happened is the spectator messed up. It got messy wessy. Oopsie whoopsie, says Riot Games in regards to that. So, hey, it happens. And what can you do about it? We did get a 2-0. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see the end of the game, but I'm going to recreate it for you real quick for anybody who's just watching. 3 people. 3 lanes were winning and jungle was winning for Purdue, and they were not showing any chances of stopping. They were not throwing their lead. When I was given like a little semblance of hope for Ottawa, I was hoping like they could have that like big shockwave moment where Lucian's able to pick off somebody and maybe they start getting their resources onto somebody that can carry. But the way Purdue was playing, it seems like that was just, they already had the casket. They just had to throw the nail in there.
Yeah, it was already kind of setting up for it, but it's no surprise. The sad part is that we don't get confirmation of how dominant it ends up being for Purdue, which is kind of the unlucky part. But luckily, it's still just week 1, so we are going to get even more information later on. Yeah, we saw them.
That was a different screenshot. Yeah, no, that was Ohio, I think. It was that screenshot. Yeah. I saw
Nothing
Kai's name.
there.
Kai is so good playing on every single team at the same time.
And winning both times.
Yeah, such a good player. Wow.
Exactly.
I actually would be very excited to see with this new Purdue inside of our region. Like, I am very excited with some of the matchups. I do think you have to figure out a way to match all 5 players somehow. I don't know if this is the type of team where you can like have one lane that has a leg up on the competition because they're all so good. You got to figure out some way to like meet them on even ground and just duke it out.
It does make the expectation and the excitement quite great, honestly. And also, I do get a screenshot of the game. So, hey,
you got a screenshot?
I got insider info apparently. So yeah, I got a screenshot of the game, and Winking ended up 11-1. That's great.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. They're playing Varus inside of it. That the Varus is still something that is incredibly good, and you can just outrange people. It's just that. It's just that simple.
Yeah, and this was the attack speed version, right? It wasn't like the poke version, so it's not like the common meta one, but it's still a really strong one that you can play really well with the Milio. So overall, really well played, really nicely done. Winking showing really good variety as well because he played the Ashe in the previous game. Started 6-1. Obviously, he was playing against the Lucian Milio, which it's in the best of experiences, but still did a great job. And this time around, a much more carry-oriented champion in the form of the Barris still did an amazing job.
Yeah, and you can even see inside this game too. I think it was also a good read. They kind of had an idea that they were going to go into this. I do want to kind of remember, and this is a storyline I probably would have talked about as well, and I talked about it at the top of the broadcast of Ottawa Braves. Is a team that when I talked to Killian yesterday, they said that they hadn't had a chance to scrim yet.
Yeah.
Plutz had just gotten in. They were just like getting things together. They haven't had a chance, and that is one of the things about CLOL. Your very first week, a lot of these teams don't have a chance, so I don't think that this is a screenshot showing indicative of where exactly they will be at the end, but they do know where their work is cut out for them because Purdue definitely came in here off the grindstone, ready to take into action and, you know, get that dub for themselves here. So they're going to be able to start things off 1-0. It's going to be interesting watching them kind of snail their way through the standings if they keep up like this, since they only have one match for like weeks upon weeks, but it will be fun to watch.
Yeah, there's still a lot of competition, a lot to take into account, and a lot of players to try and showcase themselves, highlight themselves, and be the best team possible at MEC. Like, once again, week 1, you can look at the down there, like this, down there, week 1, day 3. There's still quite a good amount of time to go from here, and a lot of change can happen to multiple of these teams.
Well, with that being said, we did have our different, of everything that went and exploded there. Yet again, if you're just now tuning in, spectator client went boom, and it was a dub for this side of Purdue Northwest. So, unfortunate that we can't get to see the end, but hey, good to be able to see them pick up a very clean 2-0. We're going to go ahead and go over to an interview with a member from Purdue Northwest, and when we come back, we'll be going into this said interview. I don't know who we got, so it'll be a surprise. We'll be all surprised together. See you there.
Yep.
We're here live at the MEC Fall Championship. It's Kendo Slice alongside Briarcliff University. Freight, #train. You got me with the timing of that when we were talking before.
That was the intent.
It is freight. Is it just straight up freight train or is it freight?
Yeah.
Okay, so the freight train over here. And the question of the day has been, what does esports mean to you?
I mean, I stopped going to school around like 7th grade, and I pretty much put all my time into this. So esports is like a job, like it's my lifestyle, it's everything that I do. Like it means everything to me.
Yeah. So
it's what's gotten me to college. Like, I mean, it's done everything for me, and
I love it.
I'm gonna keep with it until I'm done.
So, is there something that you have learned over the last 3 months? Maybe there was an interaction with a coach that you'd like to highlight? Or
I mean, mostly
like that?
just like learning how to interact with other people. Like when most of what you've done all your life is play video games, like being in a physical environment with 4 other teammates kind of just alters things, and you have to learn it a different way. And it's been a major catalyst for growth.
Absolutely. Like, getting off the rails for a moment, but it's a lot like you think of trying to do things one way, and it doesn't work. The perspective of other people brought in a team environment goes a long way in helping you discover a solution that does work.
And you become a lot less individualistic. Like you just learn how to factor in everybody else and everything that you do.
I love that. Thank you for joining me on my rabbit trail there. Of course, going into that hand in hand, LAN experience. It's a little bit different altogether because face to face.
I mean, it's a lot of it's like uncomfortable, but in like a way that I feel like we should embrace, and that's like how you evolve is by going through the discomfort of a LAN event and coming out better in the competition. And honestly, it's been great. Like I've liked this experience more than any other like online competition I've ever competed in.
So I gotta ask, do you have a favorite esports moment from the fall semester? You clip on some fools?
I think I had when I played against Cleveland State on Ascent one game, I think I got 2 like 8.
Hello, everyone, and welcome on back to the MEC. We have Purdue Northwest. We got the brand new mid laner, Kletso, coming in here. Is that a Pikachu plushie we got going on there? What's going on here?
Yeah, allegedly this is my top laner's calling card, so he wanted me to hold it for him, so yeah.
I'm pretty sure this is pranks from last year's. I remember this.
Yeah.
I was going to say it was a Pichu plushie, but okay.
Yeah, it's Pikachu. So,
yeah. Well, I have to ask real quick then, Kletso, how does it feel meshing in with the team, Purdue Northwest? You guys have had a lot of people actually talk about the team. How does that feel for you guys?
yeah, I mean, it feels pretty good, obviously, because I feel like, obviously, like, a lot of people, like, before, like, last semester just didn't really have, like, expectations for us, I guess, so it was like, I don't know, we're all just, like, happy that people are, like, noticing, like, what we're capable of, so, yeah, I mean, I think we're gonna do a lot of good things this year, so, yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, and overall, that first game looking like an excitement initial step towards that, right? Like winning against a team like Ottawa, which is not no easy feat. And I feel like you guys performed not only really well, but in a really cohesive manner. It feels like you guys have been playing more than just 1 week, at the very least.
Yeah, we've been practicing since like last semester, so I feel like we're pretty cohesive now. Obviously, there's still a lot of things we need to fix, but I mean, to be honest, I was expecting like more competition coming into the games today, but like it was just so easy. I'm not gonna lie, so I don't know, like I don't know what that team's doing. I'm gonna be honest.
All right, well, they had that's gonna be a good feeling actually, where it's just like, all right, yeah, no, this is a team that you were kind of like, yeah, on paper, this team went further than any of the other MEC teams, right?
Yep.
Inside of round of 16 and inside of the all together collegiate bracket. Is that kind of like your expectation for the team right now? Because like I said, you guys have a lot of people talking. A lot of people are like, yo, Purdue Northwest is actually built different this year. Is that like the big thing that you guys are built on the foundation? Like, yo, we want to go to LA, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're all like expecting to make it pretty far. I mean, we all know what we're capable of, and I mean, I think as long as we're playing well and like consistently, we can easily achieve that. So we're definitely looking forward to what lies at the end of the road.
That's a good mentality to have. And talking about mentality, I'm kind of curious what the Doubtful had against Prod, because both games it felt like he was just going onto Prod with no care about him at all.
All I'm gonna say is report my jungler, just feeding my mid laner kills in each game. Like,
yeah, that
is
killed
to it.
him.
I respect the aggression, but I think yeah, just report him. But I mean, Doubtful. He likes playing aggressive like that, so I mean, I think me and him like kind of have some similar playstyle, so it was good. I mean, he just kind of gapped Prod. I mean, I don't like Prod was just no match, I guess. Yeah.
I'm excited to see what happens with a rematch possibly down the road, honestly. Like, if they get a little bit more time, maybe they download, maybe they have the revenge arc possibly. That could be something worrisome. I gotta ask now the most important thing, Kletso. You've got Prank's signature with you, with the Pikachu holding the apple.
Yes,
What's the
I do.
Kletso special? Let me know what the Kletso special is right now, man.
The Klexo special? I don't know. I don't. I don't really
I'm
have
expecting
anything
that
special.
now. I'm expecting that now.
Yeah, next time. Yeah, next time maybe I'll have something special, but I don't know. Just having good play is my special.
Okay.
your signature is just like, yeah, I'm just good at the game.
I just want to gap people. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, yo, Kletso, it's been good to be able to talk with you. I'm glad I get to see you and whatnot here. I'm glad things are easy for you. I'm excited to see if that continues to be your trend here in the MEC.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to this season and seeing what we can do.
All right, and any shout outs you want to give, Kletso, before you head on off?
Yeah, of course. Shout out to my teammates, obviously. Shout out to Marquez. He always puts in so much work for us in terms of draft and just like our strategic planning. Shout out to Jay Braggs. Shout out to Samba. And just shout out to all the new PNW supporters, honestly. It's kind of nice. You know, we have a lot of people just kind of noticing what we're capable of, and yeah, I mean, it just feels good. So yeah, good things are gonna happen this season.
That's what we love to hear. No longer the underdogs.
Yep, definitely not. First place
well,
or
it's been
bust.
a pleasure, Kletso. You make sure you take care, and I hope you have a great rest of your evening. We'll see you next weekend.
All right, yeah, thank you. See you guys soon.
See you then. That's good. I that was my first time getting to talk to Kletso. Kletso's cool. I appreciate that Prank was like, yo, you have to take the Pikachu with you.
Is that the legacy now?
You know. So story about the Prank Pikachu holding the apple. It's a if I remember right, there was like Prank was like going through so much to get the tickets at the live LAN events that we're doing for the MEC, and like they were just going nuts to be able to get this Pikachu with the apple. Like it was a big thing for them to be able to get it. So ever since then, it's just kind of been their signature thing. I think it was 20. It might have been 2022 actually.
That's a while.
It was. The Pikachu fiasco, because I remember like there was like LANs almost every single weekend, and Unified was pumping them out like crazy.
Yeah, the Unified LAN timeline. I've never experienced them because I'm not from the US, but I saw some things on Twitter. I remember good old days.
I feel you. Well, with that being said, I do believe that is it for us here tonight. And everything is a-okay. Everything's good to go. We're going to go ahead and close things out. Thank you, TDS, for coming in on short notice, hanging out with me, making sure that everything's taken care of. Shout out to the players and the supporters that came in here, and everybody in between. Shout out to everybody for just making sure that we're able to have a fun show, even when the spectator client goes a little haywire. We're going to catch you guys next time. We do have more games on Monday, so make sure you check around here. There'll be another game that we'll play on. MEC is now a 4-day format, so make sure you tune in, same place, same time, for some more games on Monday. We'll catch you there.